Hello everyone, welcome to Unacademy. So before starting today's lesson, I would like to know from each one of you regarding the quality of video as well as audio. If it has been perfect, just write the perfect or the live chat and then we are going to start. Tell me. Yeah, perfect. Anyways, so before starting today's session, I would like to give you the brief idea about the periphery of today's session. I'm going to discuss almost all questions which have been experienced from engineering mathematics in different streams. Either it had been electronics, electrical, instrumentation, mechanical, civil and computer science. So probably the student who had appeared in GATE 2023 and who have been willing to appear in GATE 2024 would have a little bit idea which kind of the questions are being asked in different stream and how they can exactly prepare regarding the engineering mathematics. So anyways, before starting today's session, I would like to request to each one of you, already the PDF is being shared in a form of link. So once you'll click on this Google Drive link, no, a PDF would get downloaded. Just click it over here. A PDF would get downloaded, and in that PDF you will be getting all sort of question which I am going to take in today's class, and the link is also been attached. So in future, if you find any problem in any kind of question, you can use this QR code. Probably you must be able to see the QR code as well as the YouTube link which has been marked in a first page. So you can see, you can straight away go into the question number 4, sorry, page number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and total you can see 41 number of pages are been there in this PDF. So approximately you can say 35 to 36 number of questions I am going to take from the engineering mathematics. I would like to request from each one of you, tell me whether you guys are been mentally prepared. Should I start today's session? This PDF is exclusively created by me. Even I set myself, selected each and individual question, and then I brought this thing for you guys. Tell me. Is it been problem with the buffering or what? Tell me. Let me check it out. Tell me everything has been running fine, no? Otherwise, in my side, there had been buffering issue. So I would like to know from each one of you whether everything has been perfect. Then we will start today's session. Whether everything has been perfect, then we will start today's session. Perfect, no? Probably everything has been perfect. Yes. I would request to all of you, try to share this link to the max of your colleagues as well as the student who have been relevant to the GATE examination, because such a good effort has been put in behind this PDF as well as today's class. Definitely I would request to each one of you, this video should reach to max of the max students. So anyways, let me focus over the first page. And once you'll see this page, no, at least few of the important thing I would like to communicate over here. See, GATE Mathematics 2023, almost all questions which have been experienced in electronics, electrical, instrumentation, mechanical, civil and computer science. You can use this QR link. So in future, any kind of doubt you get, you can just scan this QR link and you would be routed to this video. So obviously, wherever you get any kind of mistake or any kind of doubt, you can refer this video once again, and even you can take the reference of this URL link as well. Agreed? Yeah. So at very beginning, I am going to discuss the questions which are been experienced in electrical engineering. So let me start with the electrical engineering. Let me focus over the number of questions are been asked in electrical engineering. What was the weightage of engineering mathematics? So you can see very well, there were 4 number of questions having the weightage of 1 mark. So virtually speaking, 4 marks are been the questions from 1 mark, and similarly there had been the 3 number of questions which carried the weightage of 2 marks. Virtually speaking, there were 6 marks. Once you add them together, the 10 marks were allocated for the engineering mathematics only. So let me take the first question in front of you. Read the problem carefully and tell me what must have been the answer over here. Deliberately, I have given the answer as well. So in future, once you'll refer this PDF, at least the question as well as the answer both would be available for you guys. So let me go back and let me solve this problem out. Let me see what the problem states. Let me see what the problem states. Given a fair 6-faced dice where the faces are labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. What is the probability of getting a 1 on the first roll of dice and the 4 in second rolls of dice? Anyways, the 2 or 3 important terminologies were there which are been quite important while reading. This has been a fair die. What does it actually mean of it? That means the occurrence of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they all are equal probable. So I would say the occurrence of 1, its probability is going to be 1 out of 6. 1 by 6, same goes with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as it has been fair, one thing has been quite sure, the probability for the occurrence of 1 is going to be very same as 2, and similarly it is going to be very same as 6, and that is going to be 1 out of 6. Many of the students would say, sir, why it is so fascinating to say it is been fair and then probability would be equal? My dear friend, one question had come this year itself. There the die was unfair, and the occurrence of 1 was larger than the occurrence of second, and similarly occurrence of third was smaller than the occurrence of second. That is why this fair word has been quite important, and then you can infer that the occurrence of the each and individual number has been equal, and that has been 1 by 6. The second important thing, 2 times the dice are been rolled. The outcome in first trial and the outcome in second trial has been quite independent. Why it's so? Because if in first trial the 1 had come, we can't predict about the second trial. It could be anything in between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So one thing has been quite sure, the both of the trials, how many trials we had? The true number of trials we had, and they are going to be independent in nature. Independent in nature. Or I would say they are been occupying the 2 different sample space. As far as this problem is going concerned, they want a situation where in first trial they must get 1. In first trial, I may call this as trial number 1. They want 1, and I could say intersection. In second trial, they want the digit as 4. We know whenever the intersection takes place between the event, and if the events are been independent in nature, straight away we can take their multiplication. So virtually speaking, I can say this is going to be pt1 of 1 into pt4 of 2. May I know what has been the probability of the occurrence of 1 in first trial? Obviously it is going to be 1 by 6, and here it is also going to be 1 by 6. So the answer which we get, it is simply going to be 1 divided by 36. My dear friend, the few important thing, fair, that means the occurrence of the each and individual numbers are been same, and that is why the probabilities are also been same, that is been 1 by 6. This year itself they had asked one question where the event were non-fair, and obviously there you can't say the occurrence is going to be equal. That's been the first important thing. Second important thing, you should know that they are been independent in nature. That is why the multiplication can take place. My dear friend, this formula is not valid everywhere. This is exclusively valid if T1 and T2 are being independent in nature, because if it has been mutually exclusive, this intersection must have been 0. So you should have a clear cut idea when this formula has to be used. When this formula has to be used. Is that part clear? Okay, then I would request to each one of you, parallelly you should also answer along with me. Here comes the next question, which has been a problem based on a graph. Which one of the following option represents the given graph? This has been a graph which has been drawn over the x-file plane. Here goes the x-axis, here goes the y-axis. The 4 different options are been attached along with this problem, and they have been fx is equals to x square, 2 has been raised to the power of minus mod of x, fx is equals to x 2 to the power of minus x, fx is equals to magnitude of x 2 to the power of minus x, and the last one has been f of x is equals to x 2 to the power of minus of mod of x. Once you will focus over this graphical curve, one thing has been quite sure, this graph is been symmetrical around the origin. How did I know about it? Whenever the graphs are been symmetrical around the origin, first you take the reference of y-axis and you fold that signal. This comes here, somewhere here. And then you fold across the x-axis. If the overlapping takes place, I can say both of the signals are being what? Symmetrical around the origin, and they are being called as a odd function. Or you can take another method as well. You can first take its symmetricity, taking the reference of x-axis, and then you can take with respect to the y-axis. So what I'm saying, first you have to fold across the x-axis, and then you had to fold across the y-axis, or even you can use a reverse process as well. And if both of the signals are been occupying, or both of the signals are been overlapping, they are been called as a odd function. They are been called as a odd function. So obviously we can see very well, sir, as far as this problem is been concerned, it is been odd function, and mathematically odd function is been written as a f of minus x is equals to minus times of f of x, minus times of f of x. Agreed, sir? May I know whether this has been an odd function or not? This has been an even function. How did I know about it? X square, if you'll feed x as minus x, still its square would knock that minus off. And now if you'll feed minus of x inside a modula, still it remains 2 to the power of minus of mod of x. So as far as this problem is concerned, no, if we'll talk about its graph, the graph is going to be kind of this. See, the graph is going to be kind of this. So obviously this has not been a possible answer for the given question. Now let me focus over the option B. Fx is equals to x 2 to the power of minus of x. I would like to know whether it has been an even function or odd function. Many of the students may say that it has been an odd function. My dear friend, this is neither odd nor even. No. How, sir? Once you'll keep x as minus of x, it is quite okay. But this becomes 2 to the power of plus of x. So we can't say that f of x is equals to minus times of f of x. No. See, just try to understand. If I say e to the power of x, whether it has been an odd function or even function, neither it has been odd nor it has been even, because you will replace x with minus of x. The power had become e to the power of minus x. No, did you understand what I'm saying? Power had become e to the power of minus x. That minus sign you can't brought out. So obviously they are neither been even nor been odd. Yes or no? Yes, sir. We can understand this thought. So if it has been the case, sir, B has been ruled out completely. B has been ruled out completely, because once you'll have the little bit idea about the odd function, at least A has been discarded, B has been discarded. What about the C? C is again neither be odd nor been even. Nobody should say that it has been an even function. Neither it has been odd nor it has been even. How did I know about it? Again, once you'll place x with minus of x, so it becomes 2 to the power of plus x, and keep in mind still the f of minus x is not been satisfied as a f of minus x. So obviously this has also been ruled out. So you had been left out with only and only one option, and D, and that is supposed to be the best most answer. Once you'll feed x is equals to minus x, so obviously this becomes minus x, and here comes 2, and again the x would be replaced with a minus of x. So mod of minus of x is simply going to be mod of x, and yes, I can say this is being equals to of minus of f of x. So best most answer for this given question is being D. So in future you can have this kind of problem which have been the odd function and even function. Keep in mind the first one is being even function, the second one is neither been odd nor been even, and the third one is neither been even and nor been odd, and the last one is been odd function. If you want to experience something extra, you could have written this as like this. When the x is been lesser than 0, magnitude of x would be represented as minus of x. Once you'll feed it, it becomes x e to the power of plus x. And similarly, when x is been greater than 0, magnitude of x has been referred as a x itself. So here it becomes x into e to the power of minus x. Forget about the left hand side, just focus over this. See, at x is equals to 0, this function becomes 0, and even at x is equals to infinity, again this function becomes 0. Why? At x is equals to 0, the first term becomes 0. At x is equals to infinity, e to the power of minus x becomes infinity. Virtually speaking, it would start from 0 at x is equals to 0, and at x is equals to infinity, it has to land at 0. So you can see it starts from 0 and it ends to 0. And this value never ever can be negative, because the value of x is always been taken positive, at least in this quadrant. So obviously, sir, it goes to a certain maximum value, because 0 has to come down to 0 again, goes to maximum value, or again comes back to 0. So at least this part has been known, and you can easily say the D has been the best most answer, and you can easily say the D has been the best most answer. Yes. So here goes the next question. Read the problem carefully and tell me what must have been the best most answer. I would like to know from each one of you. What I am saying, the questions which have been taken here, no, they all are belonging from electrical side. See what the problem states. The expected number of trial for first occurrence of a head in a biased coin. Now you can see very well. So far we were discussing about the unbiased experiment, but now we have been dealing with a biased event. How you can make a coin biased? My dear friend, let's take you had a coin. Here comes head, here comes tail. If you put a extra weight towards tail, so most of the time what would happen, once you'll flip the coin, the tail is supposed to come towards downside and head would appear towards upside, and now it becomes a unfair coin, because n number of times you will be keep repeating this experiment. No, you can't say the probability of the occurrence of head is been half and tail is been half. Now the probability of the occurrence of head is been larger than the probability of the occurrence of tail. So this has been kind of that problem. The expected number of trial for first occurrence of a head in a biased coin is known to be 4. The expected value has been given. My dear friend, what does that mean by the expected value? Expectation is to be calculated, or has to be calculated for a random variable. And what has been the random variable over here? The random variable has been the number of times the trial had been made such that the first time the head had occurred. The probability of the first occurrence of a head in the second trial is been. Anyways, nobody should say, sir, the probability for the occurrence of head is been 1 by 2. Nobody to take this assumption, because many of the students had taken this assumption and they have got a wrong answer, because this had been a unfair coin or unfair experiment where the occurrence of head probably has to be lesser or more than half. Quite okay, sir. The value which has been supplied along with this problem is been the expected value of the random variable, and we require the 4, on average 4 number of tosses. So what we have been doing over here, just try to understand what we have been doing over here. Here comes the random variable and this comes their corresponding probabilities. See how the random variable is been defined. The random variable is been the process where the outcomes are being connected with a real number. So here the number of trial itself is being counted as the random variable. My dear friend, the expected number of trial for the first occurrence of a head, my dear friend, I could have taken in this way. I had tried a coin first time, and let's take the head has been appeared and its probability is being taken as P. May you know when we will go for the second trial? This is required only and only in the first time the tail must have been occurred, or I would say the probability must have been 1 upon P, and the second time the head had appeared. I could have taken the third case. I would go into the third case only and only if neither head had appeared in first trial as well as the second trial. What does the actually mean of it? It had been 1 minus P, it had been 1 minus P, and now the head had appeared over here. So here comes 1 minus of P, 2 times that becomes a square. And you had to go till infinite number of time until and unless you don't get first head. You don't get first head. Agreed, sir. And its expected value has been clearly given. This has been random variable X and it has been probability. And may I know whether it has been DRV or CRV? Obviously, sir. The observations are been discretely taken out, so obviously it is going to be DRV. And how the expected value of DRV is been calculated? It is going to be sum of Px divided by of sum of P, and sum of P usually used to be 1. So what I would do, the 1 is going to get multiplied with P, then comes 2, 1 minus of P gets multiplied with P, and then comes 3, 1 minus of P raised to the power of 2 gets multiplied with P, and this value is being provided in this problem as 4. I don't know how many of us could really understood what exactly had been supplied along with this problem. So here it goes till 4. It goes till 4. So what I would do now? I would take its arithmetic mean, but neither it is been GP nor it is been AP. It is been AGP. It has been AGP. So what I have been doing over here? So what I am going to do over here? This has been 4, no? So let me rub this down. Anyways, for the time being, I am not focusing over this part. Yes. Let's take this is been mean, and the mean is been referred as a X bar. What I would do? See, if this P must have been multiplied with a 1 minus P and must have been subtracted over here. Similarly, 1 minus P into P must have been multiplied with a 1 minus P must have been subtracted over here. So it would become a perfect GP series. So what I would do over here? I would take a 1 minus of P X bar. The X bar is been known, no? That is been 4. So here this is being multiplied with this term. This becomes 1 minus p into p. Now this is being multiplied with this, so this becomes 2 1 minus p square over p, and as it had been an infinite number of terms, we will just subtract them. So the first term is simply going to be p. 2 and 1 is being subtracted, here it becomes 1 minus p over p. 3 and 2 is being subtracted, here goes 1 minus of p square over p. Yes, is equals to, here x bar could have been taken common, so x bar is simply been 1. 4, so 1 minus of 1 minus of p, so here it becomes 4 times of p. The probability is to be calculated. 4 times of p, yes or no? 4 times of p. 4 times of p. Now it becomes a GP series. GP series converges in infinite number of terms only and only if their common ratios are being lesser than equals to 0, in between 0 to 1. So yeah, you can see very well. A is being p, the first term is being p, the common ratio is being 1 minus p into p divided by p, that is been 1 minus of p. One thing has been quite sure, the p has been the probability of the occurrence of head, whether it has been fair or unfair coin. Definitely the value of p is supposed to be in between 0 to 1, then 1 minus of p would also be in between 0 to 1. So I can say it has been a fair enough value of r, and we can apply s infinity. We can apply s infinity. How the s infinity has been defined, my dear friends? It has been defined as a upon 1 minus of r. What has been a over here? A is been p now. A is been p now, and similarly 1 minus of r. 1 minus of r, what it has been, you can see very well. So 1 minus of r, 1 minus of 1 plus of p. So this is simply going to be p, and here comes 4 times of p. This and this goes out, and now you can see very well. The probability of the occurrence of head is been 1 by 4, or the probability of the occurrence of tail is been 3 by 4. That is why it is been clearly written. It is been type of biased coin. Did you understand what exactly I wanted to communicate? Yes, sir. So now they wanted to ask the probability for a certain event or situation. The first occurrence of a head is been occurred first. In the second trial, that means the first trial must have been experienced the tail. Read the statement carefully, then only you will be able to crack this problem out. The probability of the first occurrence, that means the first time the head had occurred, and that requires the 2 number of trial. That means definitely you must have got the first as a tail, and then only you must have got as a second as head. The probability of the tail is simply going to be 1 minus 1 by 4, and that is going to be 3 by 4. And may I know what has been the probability of the head? It is been known as 1 upon 4, and this becomes 3 upon 16. 3 upon 16. Probably I must have a calculator over here. So the result what we get is simply going to be 0.875. This has been the answer. This has been the answer. How many of us could understand the logic behind this question? How many of us must have understood the logic behind this problem? Tell me. Logic behind this problem. And I would request to each one of you, in comment box, once you'll see, already the PDF is being attached. So in future you can take the reference of this PDF, and taking the reference of this PDF now, at least you can refresh the different kinds of the mathematics questions are being asked in different branch. So far the questions I have been taking, they had been asked in GATE Electrical Engineering in year of 2023. It has been a well designed question. Agreed? In the same sequence, I would take the next question as well. Let's see what the problem states. A quadratic function of two variable is being given as function of x1 and x2. x1 raised to the power of 2, 2x2 to the power of 2, plus 3x1 plus 3x2 plus x1 x2 plus 1. The magnitude of maximum rate of change of the function at a point 1, 1 is rounded up to nearest integer. My dear friend, this kind of questions you must have seen many of the times. Whenever we take the reference of a scalar function, obviously it has been a scalar function, and we talk about the maximum rate of increment, decrement, maximum rate of change, obviously the gradient function has to be applied, or gradient operator has to be applied. But once you'll see this problem, the one big question mark do come into the picture. Sir, so far we have seen x, y, z, r theta phi, rho phi z, but they had taken x1 and x2. No, no. We were using the coordinates as x and y, they had used the coordinate as x1 and x2. So nobody at least should worry at this point. Agreed? So as far as this problem is being concerned, one thing has been quite sure. As far as this problem is being concerned, sir, as far as this problem is being concerned, sir, the gradient operator is to be calculated or to be applied over the given scalar function, and end of the day we had to also calculate its magnitude. So obviously the value can't be negative at any cost. The value can't be negative at any cost. The second important point. How we will take its gradient? As we do in case of Cartesian coordinate system. Let's presume the value of x1 is been x and the value of x2 is been y, and do the calculation accordingly. Virtually speaking, you take this as a x1 and x2, you partially differentiate with respect to the x1, that component would fall in the direction of ax1 cap, and similarly x2 and that component would fall in the direction of ax2 cap. And now we had been doing so. We had been differentiating the given function with respect to the x1 first. So here it becomes 2x1, and then comes, as it is been free from x1, its partial differentiation with respect to the x1 is being 0. Here comes 3. Then no presence of x1 becomes 0. Here the partial differentiation with the x1 would lead x2 over here, x2 over here, and the partial differentiation of constant is simply going to be 0, and this component would fall in the direction of ax1 cap. ax1 cap. Quite okay, sir. Then plus the same process has to be followed for the x2 as well. Let me do so. As it has been completely free from x2, its partial differentiation with x2 is simply going to be 0. And now we will differentiate x2 partially with respect to the 2. So x2. So here the 2 and 2 becomes 4. And this is simply going to be x2. Absence of x2 makes it partial differentiation 0. And here it becomes 3. Here it becomes 3. Again x2. So simply it would be x1. And this component would fall in the direction of ax2. This component would fall in the direction of ax2. Yes, sir. Anyways, I don't want its unique gradient. I want its gradient value specifically at point x1 is equals to 1 and x2 is equals to 1. My dear friend, you don't have to put much effort. x1 and x2 has been kept as 1 and 1. Simply 2, 3 and 1 is going to get added. So 2, 3 and 1 becomes 6. And this component would fall in the direction of ax1 cap. Same 4, 3 and 1. So it becomes 9. ax2. Yes. 8. Sorry. This becomes 8 now. 8. Anyways, this is been the gradient of f. Once we'll take its magnitude, the magnitude is simply going to be 6x square plus of 8 square. This holds to be root over of 100. The answer which we supposed to get, it is been simply 10. It is been simply 10. Yes. So in the same sequence, we are going to take a next question as well. It is a quite well designed question. Many of the students shiver a lot in this kind of question. Anyways, I am not going into the detailed analysis of this problem. I will read this problem as a problem only, and we will try to figure it out how we could have cracked this problem in an environment of gate. In the figure, the vector u, this has been a vector u, which has been extended from origin, or I can say this has been a position vector OA. Agreed. And similarly, we are rated as, anyways, the another is been OB you can take. OB you can take. Now AU is equals to V. By transformation matrix A, the correct choice of A is been. I don't know whether you understand this part or not. If any of the column matrix, let's take the column matrix is been what I can say 1 and 1 gets multiplied with any kind of a square matrix. Let's take it has been -1, 0, 0 and 1. Whatever the new column matrix do come, no, that has been the transformed form of the old vector. Once we'll do this multiplication, this becomes minus of 1 plus of 1. My dear friend, many of the time students faces a lot of problems, or how did I say this as a vector? My dear friend, if you had a vector which had got a 3 number of components, You can write in a form of a matrice as well, no? Like ax cap plus ay cap could have been written as a 1 1. Ax cap plus ay cap minus 2az cap must have been written as a 1 1 and minus 2. So don't worry about it. There had been the two different notations, and that is why this is also been called as a vector. All of the column matrix can also be referred as a vector because you can extract their magnitudes in the corresponding direction and it becomes a vector quantity. So 1 and 1, how the 1 and 1 looks that you had, that should have be your problem. How the 1 and 1 looks? 1 and 1 could have been written as 1 into ax cap plus 1 into ay cap. This has been kind of this. In direction of x, 1 unit has to be gone. In direction of y, 1 unit has to be gone. So this is going to be ax plus of ay. But when it is been multiplied with a matrix, you can see the new vector which has been came out. This has been minus of ax cap plus of ay cap. Virtually speaking, the value of x is supposed to be negative and y is to be positive. I can say this vector is being transformed to this vector. This is old vector and this has been new vector. Could you understand what I am saying? Its magnitude may increase, its magnitude may decrease, even its direction may change. You can see its magnitude had not changed, but the direction had changed. So from here onwards, you can at least conclude one of the important outcome. Whenever a column vector or column matrix is been multiplied with a square matrix, then the resultant is going to be a transformed form of its older vector. You can see they had been transformed. Did you understand what I am saying? Yes, sir. So in this problem also they had been seeking the same thing. AU, that means now the vector u is going to get transformed using the a vector, and it must transform in such a way that now AU vector must overlap over the v, or AU should become v. So I should say, I should select the A matrix in such that U matrix gets transformed in a V matrix. U matrix gets transformed in a form of V matrix. Yes, or U vector may gets transformed in a form of V. So that is what I am saying. A little bit thinking is been important. So what has been the actual conclusion? I should say 4 and 3 must get multiplied with a square matrix. What must be its order? Obviously, if it has been 2 cross 1, we want the result as a 2 cross 1. It has to be 2 cross 2. This has to be transformed in a form of 5 and 0. This has to be transformed in a form of 5 and 0. I want this datas. How many datas we are to have? The 4 number of datas we are going to have. My dear friend, at least focus over the second row first column. This value can be 0 only and only if 4 gets multiplied with 3 and 3 gets multiplied with 4. And now this would get subtracted. If we'll add them together, obviously this value would not be 0. So we had to search the option. I repeat, we had to search the option where one sign is being negative and another is being positive in second row. Which are be they? C is been discarded. You had again been left out with A, B and D, and all of 3 has been satisfying this requirement. You can see very well. If you write 3 by 5, it becomes 12 divided by 5 and it becomes minus 12 divided by 5. A could have been the answer. Same goes with 3 by 5, 4 by 5, and similarly same goes with the 3 by 5 and minus 4 by 5. So at least A, B and D is been concerned. All of 3 have been satisfying this requirement. So anyhow, we had to focus over the first requirement. 4 and 3 should get partially multiplied with the term such that the result must become 5. How it has been possible? My dear friend, sir, 4 must have been multiplied with the 4. 4 ja will become 16. 3 3 ja will become 9. 16 plus 9 becomes 25. Divided by a 5 would make it 5. So I want this number to be 4, this number to be 3. Once they get multiplied, that becomes 25, but it has to be divided with 5. So virtually speaking, I want here 4 by 5 and I want here 3 by 5. 3 by 5. Yes. The B is going to be the best most answer. B is going to be the best most answer. Virtually speaking, if this vector is been multiplied with this transformation matrix, this U gets transformed in a form of V. It was a great question of a transformation. It was a great question of a transformation. Yes. So here comes the next question as well. According to me, this question must possess marks to all. Marks to all. In the following differential equation, the numerically obtained value of y of t at t is equals to 1 is rounded off to 2 decimal place, and here we had a first order differential equation. My dear friend, numerical method has already been dropped in electrical and electronics syllabus 3 years back. So how you can ask this question? And if you had asked this question, but still step size is nowhere is been given. Even the method through which the first order differential equation is to be solved is also been not given, because certain error would be involved. No? Whenever you numerically calculate certain solution of a differential equation, there would be a certain error which we call it truncation error, until and unless 4 or 5 number of iteration is not been made. So here neither the step size has been given, and secondly numerical method is not been the syllabus of gate electrical. I could say this has to be marks to all. But anyways, if I expect this has been the topic in your syllabus and even the step size has been given, how will you able to solve this problem? How will you solve this problem, my dear friend? Just try to understand this here. First derivative of y with respect to the t has been given, which has been a function. Now you had to calculate the value of y of t at t is equals to 1. I would use Taylor's method, and as the step size has not been given, I will choose the step size straight away of 1. This has been my basic assumption. In my Taylor series expansion, we presume or we assimilate the complete curve in a form of a small straight line chords. I presume the complete curve is been a sum of a small straight line chords, and that I do over here as well, my dear friend. This has been your starting point. Let's take this starting point had its coordinate value as a x0 and y0. Will you be able to detect the upcoming value x1 y1? Yes sir, I would be able to detect, but at least the slope has to be known. Let's take the slope is being what we can say m. Slope has to be known, and at the same time there must have a clear-cut idea how long you had moved towards x side. Yes, and then you can easily calculate the value of x1 y1 as well. So what I am going to do over here, first I need to calculate the slope at this point. The slope is being the value which indicates how the y is going to change with respect to the change in x. Virtually speaking, slope is del y over del x, and as it is been a straight line, obviously the slope is not going to change in throughout the step size. Agreed sir. So how x1 y1 must have been written? So the sir y1 must be, how the y1 must have been, that you tell me. How the y1 must have been? You had to calculate the y1 as y0 plus the change which has been experienced over here. Let's take it has been del y. And what is going to be the del y, that you tell me? What is going to be the del y over here? And that is nothing but rate of change m into h. So here comes the next calculation. Y1 is equals to y0. What is going to be the m over there? M has been the slope which has been detected at x0 y0. I should say I need to calculate dy by of dx at x0 y0. Yes, and has to get multiplied with h. H is been taken as 1. Each data are being supplied along with this problem. The initial reference is being taken where at x is equals to 0, the value of t is been, sorry, at t is equals to 0, the value of y is been taken as 0. So virtually is 0 and 0. Yes, so at least y0 is been known to be 0. H is been taken as 1, and now we will be focusing over the rate of change at x0 y0. So obviously this has been rate of change at x0 and y0. X0 is been 0, y0 is been 0. I will feed t is equals to 0, so numerator becomes 1, and t is equals to 0, the denominator becomes 2. So here comes 1 by 2 into 1. So this is supposed to be 1 by 2. If numerically you will approximate the worth of y at t is equals to 1, what you have to do, you have to just find the slope of its previous value, and then you will see that the straight line has been framed, and if the straight line has been framed, you can easily get the value of y1 as well, y1 as well. Straight problem of straight line. Yes or no? My dear friend, if I'll ask how much change would take place, you will say, sir, first you tell me rate of change, and then you tell me how much change in x has been taken place. Because for a straight line, the m is been defined as change in y over change in x. Which m you will be using? Obviously, in between there had been a straight line, no slope change would take place, so you can calculate the slope at x naught y naught, because which can be easily calculated, because dy by dt is what? Rate of change of y with respect to the t. Quite okay. If you can feed the value of x naught and y naught over here, you will be getting the slope as well. How much the slope has been? This has been 1, this has been 2. So slope at this point has been 1 by 2, and how much change in x has been taken place? That has been 1. So the answer which we supposed to get, it's been half only. Which we supposed to get, it's been half only. So here comes the next question. See what the problem states. For a given vector w is equals to 1, 2, 3 transpose, the vector normal to the plane wt x is equals to 1. Once you look this problem, first time it may look scary because the matrices are been involved, but this has been a very, very easy question, my dear friend. W is 1, 2, 3, which has been a row matrix. As it is being made transpose, it becomes a column matrix. But again, the W transpose is being used. What does it actually mean of it? Once you will take transpose over here, transpose of transpose becomes a natural matrix. Virtually speaking, again we had been dealing with a row matrix. So let me focus over the last equation, and that has been Wt x is equals to 1. So what is going to be the Wt? Wt is simply going to be 1, 2 and 3. And as the result is being a 1 cross 1, obviously the x has to be in order of 3 cross 1. Let's take they have been x, y and z, and that had been 1 over here. That had been 1 over here. Yes. So I can say the equation which we can deduce out of this calculation is simply been x plus 2y plus 3z is equals to 1. Anyways, this has been a standard equation of a plane. Equation of plane is been a1x plus b1y plus c1z plus d is equals to 0, plus d is equals to 0, plus d is equals to 0. Yes or no? Yes, sir. Agreed, sir. Once you'll compare, you'll get this easily. A1 has been 1, then B1 has been 2, C1 has been 3, so on and so forth. How we get the normal over any kind of surface? Using the gradient. If you have a surface which has been defined by f of x, y, z is equals to 0, easily you can find its normal at any point over the x, y, z using the gradient operator, and that is going to be plus minus gradient of f, and towards denominator side we will take its magnitude as well. We will take its magnitude as well. Why the magnitude is been taken out? Because we want a unit vector, although the normal vector is to be calculated, but unit normal vector. Agreed? So what we would do, we will take its gradient now. We will take its gradient now. So yes, partially it would be differentiated with its back, and that component would fall in the direction of ax cap. So here comes ax cap, then comes 2ay cap, and then comes 3az cap. If you want, you can take its magnitude as well. That becomes 1 plus 4 plus 9. That becomes 9, 4, 1 root over of 14. Root over of 14. Agreed, no? Root over of 14. But anyways, for the given vector, the normal to the plane, either you take unit vector, either you multiply it with the root over of 14, either you multiply it with the 5, 10, anything. My dear friend, the normal vector would remain a normal vector. Only and only scalar component is being multiplied, so its magnitude would be enlarged, or either the vector would be shortened, but still it remains normal. So one thing has been quite sure, if you will focus over the component of x, y, z, they must possess the ratio of this. So 1, 2, 3. It could have been 2, 4, 6. It could have been 1 upon root 14, 2 divided by root 14, 3 divided by root 14. So may I know what has been the best most answer which we are going to get over here? So obviously, sir, this is going to be 1 comma 2 comma 3. If you want to write in a form of vector, this could have been the first data 1, then 2, then 3. Even for the better understanding, I can write the k over here, where the k is could be any real number. K could be any real number, including 1 upon root 14, including 1 upon root 14. Here comes the next question. This question is being based on the concept of regression, where the least square method is being used for fitting a curve in a form of a straight line. 3 points in a xy planes, -1 0.8, 0 2.2, 1 2.8. The value of the slope of the best fit straight line in the least square sense is rounded up to decimal place. My dear friend, I can understand many of the students must have been struggled that all of 3 points are going to come in a straight line. No, this has not been happening. If all of 3 points would come in a straight line, obviously I don't have to use any kind of external technique. You can say that in this way, this must be the case. This must be the case. This must be the case. This has been the first point. You can write somewhere here. This has been the first point, second point, and third point. Here, what they had done, once you connect 1, 2, and 3, obviously it is not going to be a straight line. It is going to be a kind of curve. But it's still just to reduce the effort which we put in parabolic or cubic or biquadratic polynomial. What they had done, they had reduced the size of the polynomial and they had reduced it to a linear polynomial. That is quite okay. But which straight line would fit 1 comma 2 comma 3 best, such that their error would be minimal? This could have been this could have been like this as well, this could have been like this as well. See. I want a situation where the deviation must be minimal. Deviation must be minimal. Agreed? One thing has been quite so, they are not been falling in a straight line, but we have been forcing to fall in a straight line. At least I want a straight line equation which must be able to approximate this given curve. You can take in this way as well. Here comes the x-axis, here comes the y-axis. Let's take this has been a parabolic equation. If we'll talk here to here, how a straight line would be approximate or can be approximate? Yes, sir, it can be. But at least I want 2 or 3 number of points. So in case of least square method, we want the 3 numbers. Actually 3 numbers, maybe 4 number, maybe 5 number, and this formula has been used. As the approximation has been a linear approximation, it has to be y is equals to mx plus c. Instead the m I had taken a, and instead the c I had taken b. Anyways, for calculation of a and b, I want the 2 information or 2 equations. You could have seen 2x plus 3y is equals to 9, 5x plus 10x is equals to 2. So at least for the calculation of x and y, for the 2 unknowns, you want the 2 equations. So we had been working out which are the 2 equations would be able to calculate a and b. So what I did, I took summation both other side. So here it becomes summation of y. A, as it been a constant, it's been taken out, it becomes summation of x, and as the b is again been constant, it is going to be summation of b. How many times that sum had taken place? Let's take, we had a total n number of values on which the straight line has to be fed. How many number of data we had taken? 3 number of data, or I should say in generic n number of data. So simply it is going to be b of n. Yes. What I would do next, I had multiply xi both side. So here it becomes xi, here it becomes xi square, here it becomes xi. I would take its summation once again. So here it becomes summation of xi yi, a summation of xi square plus of b summation of xi. So virtually speaking, the data which had been given, no, this has been taken as x1, x2, x3 correspondingly y1, y2 and y3. You can see very well. What are the external data are been required? Summation of xy. How we'll get it? Summation of xy is being 0. So you don't have to focus over this. Yes, you don't have to focus over this at least. Then b of n. N is simply being 3 because 3 number of data are been taken. What I would do, I would take square as well, and then we will take its summation. You can see -1 square is been 1, 0 and 1, and we have taken this summation. And same goes with summation of xi yy. Yeah. What we had to do, all of the data are to be fed over here. See, here it has been coming. Summation of yi, how much it has been? 5.8. A remained as it is. Summation of xi has been 0, and here comes 3b. The b value has been known to me. The b value is known to me, and from the next equation, the value of a has been known to me. So here the slope comes 1, and the constant value comes 1.9. The constant value comes 1.9. Yes, and here they are been seeking the straight line which is going to get fit over this 3 points. What would be its slope? The slope is simply going to be 1. So 1 is going to be the best most answer. 1 is going to be the best most answer. Yes or no? I would request to each one of you here, try to give the response in the live chat as well. So at least I'll feel that I have been teaching live. Otherwise, it has just been giving a feeling that I had been teaching in recorded manner. है ना? चलो. Let me see the next question as well. The closed curve shown in the figure described by r is equals to 1 plus cos theta, where r is equals to square root of x square plus of y square. X is equals to r cos theta, y is equals to r sin theta. The magnitude of the line integral of the vector field f vector is equals to minus y I cap plus x j cap around the closed curve is. Anyways, if this data has not been given, still you will be able to extract that r and theta has been satisfying this requirement. How did I know about it? You can see very well. If you take this as a y-axis and if you take this as a x-axis, obviously this positive x-axis would have the angle is equal to 0 degree. Similarly, this would have the angle is equal to how much? Plus 90, and this would be minus of 180 degree. Minus of 180 degree. You can see very well. When the value of theta was 0, the radial distance was 2. How it has been possible? 1 plus cos of 0 has been 1, 1 plus 1, that has been 2. Agreed, sir. Agreed. Similarly, at theta is equals to 90 degree, 1 plus cos 90 becomes 0, sir. It has to cross through 1. And similarly, when theta becomes 180 degree, cos of 180 degree has been minus 1, 1 minus of 1, this becomes 0. You can see very well at 0, it had been having a value as 2. How it has been? 1 plus cos theta. Once you will feed theta is equals to 0, obviously it becomes 2. Once you will feed theta is equals to 90 degree, it becomes 1. And similarly, once you will feed theta is equals to 180 degree, it becomes 0. It becomes 0. Anyways, I don't have to focus over this much, at least at this moment of time. What we had to do, we had to perform a closed line integration. My dear friend, as the closed line integration is been formed over the xy plane, obviously I could have used the concept of Green's theorem. So how the Green's theorem will be used? The Green's theorem would be used over a closed line integration of fxy dx plus g xy dy, and that is being closed line integration gets converted in a form of an open surface integration in the same region on which the contour is being enclosing the surface. So here it becomes dou g, dou x, dou f, dou y, and the surface ds overcome here. Anyways, we won't focus over its polarity and all because they had been talking about its magnitude. Whatever do come, we will take its positive value, or we will take its modular. Agreed, sir. As the line integration has to be performed of this f vector, so the closed line integral of f dot dl, what is going to be the dl over here? It is going to be differential displacement in Cartesian coordinate system, and as we take in a Cartesian coordinate system, dl has to be dx ax cap plus of dy ay cap. Anyways, f vector and dl vector has to get dot multiplied, and once you do so, this simply becomes minus of y dx plus of x dy, x dy. Agreed? No? Yes, sir. Anyways, we can compare this very well. The value of f has been known to be minus of y, x has been known to be g has been known to be plus of x. We will feed the data over here. Rather taking its line integration, this calculation is going to be utterly easy. Used to be utterly easy, although here this calculation is not that straight. What we would do, we would differentiate x with respect to the x, this becomes 1, minus, we will differentiate minus y with respect to the y, so here it becomes open surface integration of plus 1 minus of minus 1, and here comes ds. So what has been the conclusion over here? 2 times of the area which is being enclosed by this contour, and this cardioid is being enclosed actually. This cardioid is to be, it has been enclosed. So I would say this has been the area of this cardioid. The area of this cardioid. Why the word cardioid has been given? You can say cardiac arrest, cardiology. It has been a heart shape, no? That is why it is called cardioid. This has been called cardioid. Is that part clear to all of us? Let me drink a bit amount of water. Yes. How will you calculate the area which has been enclosed by this cardiac contour? My dear friend, obviously we should not use the xy plane. Polar form of calculation must have been easier. But I would request to the student who have been from electrical and electronics background, they don't have to remember the polar form of calculation. Usually they must have done it using the cylindrical coordinate system. How? My dear friend, this has been xy plane, and here comes z axis. Virtually speaking, this has been z is equals to constant plane. In z is equals to constant plane, how the area has been defined? How the area has been defined? Obviously, there would be the change in rho and phi. I could have written this as a d rho d phi. Could you understand what I am saying? D rho d phi. But here in this problem, no, they had not been taking phi, they had been taking theta. So be happy with that. So I would take, here comes rho d rho d phi. Instead the phi I would be using theta. Don't get confused in it, because this has been made at a z is equals to constant plane. Agreed, sir? May I know rho would go from where to where? The rho had been moving from 0 to 1. That is what, tell me from where to where the rho has been moving. From where to where the rho has been moving? That you tell me. Rho. So here comes rho square. Yes, okay sir, no issue. So here comes rho d rho. Once you'll take its integration, no, let me rub this down. Okay, not possible, no issue. So here becomes rho square divided by f2. Once you'll integrate it, and then end of the day, only and only theta has been left out, and theta has to be taken its all possible angle which is required to enclose this cardiac. Okay, sir. Agreed, no? The integration of rho with respect to the d rho has been taken place, and that has been rho square divided by f2. But rho has not been constant, no? Rho has been the function of theta. So what I would do over here, I would take the integration from 0 to 2 pi. Yes. And here comes 1 upon 2 has been brought out. Here simply comes rho square. Rho has been 1 plus cos theta, which has been raised to the power of 2 d theta. D theta. Yes. We will go one step again further. So here comes 1 upon 2. Here comes 1 upon 2. Just a minute. Here comes 1 upon 2. So here comes 1 upon 2. And then what we have been doing over here? Tell me. Is that part clear? Is that part clear? So here 1 upon 2 has been brought out. What I would do, I would just expand it. A plus b raised to the power of 2. It is going to be integration from 0 to 2 pi a to the power of 2, that is been simply 1, and then comes 2 times of a into b, that is been cos of theta, and here comes cos square of theta over d theta, quite okay, sir, quite okay. So what had been happening over here, half has been out, my dear friend. When we will take the integration of cos of theta in a complete cycle, the positive lobe and negative lobe will occupy the same area. Virtually speaking, their area under the curve or area under the signed curve is simply going to be 0. At least this part can be waived off. The integration of 1 is going to be theta. Upper limit is going to be 2 pi. Minus of lower limit is simply going to be 0. So virtually speaking, it has been 2 pi. Half has been out. Now half has been out. It's been kind of this. Let me focus over the integration of cos square theta. We can convert the cos square theta in a form of a linear form of cos theta. How will I do so? As we know, cos of 2 theta is equals to 2 cos square theta minus of 1. So here cos square theta would be written as cos of theta plus of 1 divided by f2 plus of divided by f2. Take. So it would be written as cos of 2 theta plus 1 divided by f2. Is that part clear to all of us? So now what I would do over here, again the same process is to be followed. What I am going to do over here, my dear friends, again this data has to be fed in. Integration from 0 to 2 pi would take place, and integration from 0 to 2 pi, what would lead? Again, it's been 0. So actually, if 1 upon 2 has to go for integration, and that too from 0 to 2 pi, because the integration of cos of theta or cos of 2 theta from 0 to 2 pi is simply mean 0. So here only and only this has been the case, half over d theta, yes. So here comes 2 pi and here comes 2 pi divided by half. So this has been 3 pi divided by f2, the area which has been occupied by this cardioid, and that has been how much? 3 pi by 2. 2 and 2 goes out. 3 pi, how much answer it leads? 3 pi it leads somewhere 9.4241. So may I know what is going to be the best most answer? Anyways, I don't know where the answer has been, but the answer is the answer is going to be 9.4214. Yes. So in the same sequence, I should take the next question as well. Now the next question had come from electronics. Let me see whether the videos are been working fine or not. I would request to each one of you, any kind of doubt you guys have been having, you should ask in parallel. Then only there would be a meaning that we have been taking this video live. Otherwise, I could have just recorded this video and that must have gone in form of either recorded video or in a form of a stream. I would request to each one of you, the student who have been live, should also like this session. Okay. Then we will take break of 5 minutes. For each question paper, we will take the break of 5 minutes. And then we will start this session. Break of 5 minutes. And then we will start electronics question paper. 5 minutes. Exactly we are going to meet at. What has been the time now? Just a minute. It has been 7:32 now. We are going to meet at 7. Maybe 40 we can say. 40. We are going to meet at 7:40. Yes. And I would request to all of us, the PDF is already been attached. You can take the reference of that PDF now. Tell me. Hello everyone, welcome back. So now we have been taking the question from the electronic side, and the number of questions which have been asked in electronic sides have been quite larger in compare with the electrical. You can see how many number of questions have been asked from the electronics gate 2023. 4 questions carries 1 mark, it stands for 4 marks. 4 question carries, sorry, 4 questions 2 marks, and then again it becomes 8 marks. Virtually speaking, there had been the question which carries total 12 marks from the engineering mathematics. Engineering mathematics, is that part clear? So let me start taking the questions. So yes, here comes the first question. Let's see what the problem states. And the same kind of the question is also been asked in electrical engineering, and that is why I say, if the student who had appeared in electrical first half, the student who had appeared in second half, if they must have a little bit correlation, no, or they must have seen our solution which we had been provided over the YouTube live, definitely they must have been cracked this problem out. There odd function is being used, and here the even function is being chosen. Which one of the following option represents the given graph? Obviously it is been a even function. Once you will fold the left-handed part of the signal taking the reference of y-axis, you will see both of the signals are going to get overlapped, and same goes from right to left. It is going to be an even function. If I'll focus over the 4 options which are being supplied along with this problem, fx is equals to x 2 to the power of minus of x. You can see very well it is going to be a odd function. How did I know about it? For an odd function, f of minus x is being equals to of minus of f of x, and similarly for even function, the left-handed side of the signal is being very same as a right-handed signal. And if it is being neither odd nor even, neither odd nor even, just a minute, yes, neither odd nor even, neither odd nor even, both condition would not been satisfied. Neither odd nor even, both of the conditions would not satisfy. Agreed, sir. So this has been odd, obviously it has been discarded. If you'll focus on the fx is equals to x square 2 to the power of minus of mod of x, it has been an even function, sir. Obviously we will keep this option in my bucket list. We will move forward taking the option C as a reference now. The C is going to be neither odd nor even, because many of the students would think this has been an even function. When we will feed x as minus of x, the modulo makes it plus. No impact at least is this term, but this becomes 2 to the power of plus of x. So nobody should say 2 to the power of minus x is being equals to minus times of 2 to the power of plus x. Can we write this? No, obviously we can't. So obviously this is again been neither even nor been odd function. This is also been discarded. This is also been discarded. What about the D now? When we will feed x as minus of x, this has been odd function, but once we'll feed x is equals to minus of x, this becomes 2 to the power of plus x. Again, this is neither been even nor been odd, and probably this concept must be clear to all of us. Let's take, we had a function g of x, which has been the multiplication of a function fx and g of x. If f of x is been an even function and g of x is been an even function, g of x would be an even function. If both of been odd, their multiplication would be even. If either been odd, let's take the first one or second one, this is going to be odd. But if I take another scenario, if it is been even, and if it is neither been even nor been odd, the result would be neither been even nor been odd. And similarly, if odd function gets multiplied with neither been even nor been odd, its result would be neither been even nor been odd. So in that way we can say this has been an odd function, this is neither been even nor been odd, so obviously it would fall under neither been even nor been odd function. Same goes with option B as well. X square is been an even function, 2 to the power of minus mod of x is been a even function, so even into even it's going to be even. Here comes even function, neither even nor odd, so here it becomes neither even nor odd. Here it goes odd function, here it goes neither even and odd, so it becomes neither even and nor odd. So may I know what is supposed to be the best most answer? So obviously sir, the B is supposed to be the best most answer for this given question. Yes, I don't know why the 2 marks is been supplied along with this problem, because easily you must have cracked this problem out. Yes. So let me move forward taking the next question as well. Although in first look this question looks a bit scary, but once you'll go into the detailed analysis of this problem, probably within 1 to 2 steps easily you must have been conquered this problem out. The value of the integral xy dx dy over the region R given in the figure is, this has been a kind of n80 and the answer has to be rounded up to its nearest integer. Could have been 0, 1, 2, minus 1, minus 2. My dear friends, so far whenever you had been performing the surface integration in a certain closed region, usually the upper limit and lower limit were unique in nature, but here this has not been the case. If you take the vertical strip while doing its calculation, you will see for a negative value of x, the lower limit is being defined by y is equals to minus of x, and the upper limit is being defined by y is equals to x plus 2. But once you go towards the first quadrant, once you enter in the first quadrant, its lower limit and upper limit had been changed. What does it actually mean of it, sir? If vertically you had to perform its integration, you had to bifurcate the calculation in 2 parts. For negative value of x, which starts from this vertex is still x is equals to 0, and for positive value, agreed, that we can do. And even if you want, you can take the horizontal strip as well. Anyways, my dear friend, but I won't use this technique, because this technique is going to be literally thought provoking, or not thought provoking exactly, it would be time consuming. If you want, I can use it, but yes, so what I would do, this reason is being taken as a reason 1 and this reason is being taken as a reason 2. So the calculation would be made in 2 parts. I would take a reason 1, here goes x1 dx dy, and then I would take a reason 2, and the reason 2 is going to be xy dx dy, and here comes reason 2. As the vertical strip is being chosen, obviously starting integration is to be taken place with respect to the y. Yes, we will do so, sir, no issue. So here comes the integration with respect to the y. The y has been moving from y is equals to minus x, y is equals to minus x, and its upper limit goes till x plus 2, and once this integration has been done, we will also take the reference of the integration of x, where the boundation of x must be known. Y-axis has a value of x is equals to 0, so obviously I can take this upper limit as a x is equals to 0. May I know what is going to be this lower limit, where y is equals to x plus 2 and y is equals to minus x intersects, because this has been a straight line, no, where this 2 straight line intersects, that's going to be the point where we can find the value of x. May I know which value they have been intersecting? You can just feed y, and y is being same, and at this point this straight line and this straight line both are been intersecting or falling at this point. Virtually speaking, I can say one thing, this point would satisfy this equation and this equation both. Why? Because this point falls over the first equation or second equation. It falls in both of the equations, so it would satisfy both of the equation. And if it satisfies both of the equation, that means the value of x and y are going to be very same. So y and y towards left hand side has been taken common. So here it becomes x plus 2 is equals to minus of x. The value of x is going to be x plus 2. I can write somewhere x plus 2 is equals to minus of x. So the value of x is simply going to be, here it becomes minus of 2 divided by of 2, and that becomes minus of 1. It's been kind of this. But what I would say, hi sir, how are you? Only I am able to message. No, I won't be able to say that. Probably the remaining student are not being able to message. No, because okay. See, the rule which this community or the channel has been followed, you can message only and only if you had been subscribed our channel. So what you have to do, you have to subscribe our channel, and after 20 minutes you will be able to message on this channel. You will be able to message on this channel. Agreed what I'm saying exactly? Yes. So I would request to each one of you, the student who had not been subscribed us, this would subscribe, and after 20 minutes, they can easily be able to communicate with me. You will be able to communicate with me. Agreed? No? But what I'm saying, the same thing has to be done for the right reason as well. But this calculation is going to be too messy. May I know what could have been its alternate? Alternate is going to be very, very easy. See what had been happening. You just focus over this function xy. What exactly it says? If x and y, either of them is been negative, this is going to be negative. If both have been negative, it becomes positive. Both have been positive, it has been positive. Just try to understand in this way. This complete diamond shape is been structured symmetrical with reference to the y-axis. If you go towards right hand side here, let's take this point is been right hand side 0.2, and let's take you had gone maybe 0.3 upside. You will have its counterpart towards left hand side, whose value of x would be minus of 0.2, whereas the y would still be 0.3. It still be 0.3. Agree what I'm saying? Did you understand what I'm saying? And how many different points you'll be having towards right region? Infinite number of points, and towards left region infinite number of points. But one of the best thing about their regions are being always there would be Ram for the Lakhan. Let's take it has been Ram, so it had been Lakhan, and Ram and Lakhan it just been negative in nature. Why? Because you had a xy over here. Did you understand what I am saying? Deliberately they have chosen the value of this function as xy because they know if x has been fed as a negative and y has been fed as a positive, this becomes negative. And you can see very well in this reason you can't feed the value of y as negative because this has been made towards a positive value of y. So y would always be positive. In this reason x is also going to be positive, but in this reason the x is going to be negative but y is going to be positive. And once you'll multiply, you will always get a Lakhan for the Ram. I repeat, Lakhan for the Ram, Lakhan for the Ram, Lakhan for the Ram. And once you will integrate them, what does it actually mean of it? This structure is integrated. A Ram and Lakhan magnitude would be very same, but as they have been subtractive in nature, result is a big zero. Result has been a big zero. Arey yaar, Ravi Teja, if you really wants to know what exactly mean of it, do you really want? If you want, I can explain it. No issue. If you really want, I can explain it. Probably you might be following my lectures and you guys have been well known that I had been teacher of electromagnetic field theory, so I can explain the thing in a much better way. What is the basic need of this calculation? Okay, I will tell you that as well. So what had been happening over here? This becomes 0. Now, as you have been activated over our chat, I would ask one thing. Yes. If this must have been x square y dx dy, I would like to ask, answer would still be 0 or it won't be 0? Ravi Teja, tell me if this problem must have been changed to integration of x square y dx dy, this value is still be 0 or it would become non-zero? Tell me, it would become non-zero. It can't be 0 at any cost. Why? Initially we had a function xy. If you had chosen 0.2, 0.3, in counterpart of 0.3, I had chosen minus of 0.2 into 0.3. This has just been multiplication. So it becomes minus of 0.6 and this becomes 0.06. But as we had taken a plus over here, and once we'll take plus, no, this minus sign would, this square would make it positive, and this will also be positive. This will also be positive. Yes, this will also be positive. What does it actually mean of it? The actual thing is going to be such a great design question. It had been deliberately they had taken xy such that there would always be a counterpart. If you take 0.2 and 0.3, there would be a counterpart of 0.2 and 0.3, and that is going to be minus of 0.2 into comma 0.3. And once you'll multiply them together, it is going to be minus, it is going to be a plus. Once you'll sum them up, the result is simply going to be 0, because you can see very well this curve is symmetrically located around the y-axis. Yes. The next thing I would like to ask, if this question must have been x y square dx dy. The reason is been very same, whether the answer must have been same 0 or the answer would be non-zero. So the student who have been live, I would like to ask from them. This question has been the question which has been asked in GATE Electronics this year in 2023. So the student who have been from mechanical, civil, electrical, electronics, they would literally learn something extraordinary. Obviously, this is again being 0. May I know whether this has been the best approach to solve this problem or not? Yes. Because I had seen, no, here it would be 0 again. Sachin, why I am saying so? Because I had raised the 2 power of y. Y is always been positive as you have been going towards the first and second quadrant. But x power is being odd. I would say, what would be its answer? X to the power of 7, y to the power of 8, dx dy. Tell me. It would again be 0. So if you had a function, let's take x whose power is being m and n whose power is being m. If m is being odd number, by default its result is supposed to be 0. By default its result is supposed to be 0. Yes or no? Got it now? Its result is supposed to be 0. So the student who are willing to comment and they are not able to comment, just they have to do one thing. They have to subscribe our channel, and after 20 minutes they would be able to comment on the top chat. Yes, got it now? Okay, then this was the case, and Ravi Teja was asking, sir, what is been the need of this? What is been the need of this? This has been quite easy. See, you can say the charge is been distributed over this parallelogram or quadrilateral. And may I know whether the distribution of the charge is been uniform or not? No, sir. It was non-uniform and had been following this function. I can say xy coulomb per meter square. Ravi Teja, I would like to know from which branch you belongs from. If you belongs from the civil, I will take the different example. And if you belongs from mechanical, I will take the different example. So it has been xy coulomb per meter square. If I wants to know how much exact charge is being contained by this kite, what I would do? I would take a smallest differential area. I would calculate how much charge is been possessed by it. And now this small charge I will take care and each and every region of this given quadrilateral, and that becomes, so here it has been dq. But I don't want the differential charge which is being contained by an infinitely small differential area. I want the complete charge. Anyways, how the dq would be defined? The dq has been defined as how much charge is been possessed in per unit area, and that has been xy. And as you had taken a differential area, that becomes dx dy. That becomes dx dy. Agreed? And now if I say how much exact charge you had possessed, I would just sum them all of the dq's together. And here comes the beautiful question which is being asked in this given question. Another one of the best thing regarding this question is being, may I know here the distribution of charge is negative in nature or positive in nature, and similarly towards right hand side. Tell me here, if we'll talk about the row of S, whether it has been positive or negative, and similarly towards right hand side, whether it has been positive or negative. Ravi Teja, I would like to know the distribution of charge density towards the left hand side of this diagonal, whether it's been positive or negative, and towards right hand side, whether it's been a positive or negative. Obviously, sir, this is going to be negative, because in second quadrant y is always been positive and x has been negative, and here it has been positive. Whether the distribution of the charge has been uniform? No, sir, it has been changing with respect to the x and y. Here this is simply going to be 0. X and y both are being 0, simply is going to be 0. May I know what is going to be the charge density over here? At y axis, value of x is being 0, so xy is again being 0. May I know what would be the worth over here? So here the intersection point is being clearly known. You will just multiply them together. Yes, Ravi Teja, did you really follow what exactly I wanted to communicate through this problem? This has been a specific problem which we can relate with any kind of population density. In electronics, usually we relate with charge population density. In mechanical, they can also relate with crowd population density. In civil, at least they can relate with the crowd population density as well. Is that part clear to all of us? I don't find any of the students would have any kind of doubt, at least on this problem. So I think it's been the right time we should also take the next question. My dear friend who had been joining late, I would request to each one of you, if you really wants to have a chat with me, you had to subscribe our channel, and within 20 minutes, now your account would be activated for the chat, and definitely you can have to go with me. Any kind of doubt you guys are having, you can just ask over there and I will reply over here. Yes. So again, this has been a problem which has been asked in GATE Electronics year of 2023. Read the problem carefully, what the problem exactly states. See, the value of line integration. My dear friend, this has been a open line integration because the P has been some one point and Q has been a some other different point. They have not been the same point. Obviously, we had been talking about a open line integration along a straight line joining the point P and Q is. Ravi Teja, just I would like to ask one thing. Had you been appeared this year in GATE Electronics 2023? And if you had done it, so what was your answer? How much effort you had done it to get its answer? How much effort you have done it for getting this answer? Tell me, Ravi. Anyways, we had to perform the vector open line integration, which starts from P, goes till Q, z square dx plus 3y square dy plus 2xz dz. 2xz dz. My dear friend, many of the students think that the straight line is the best path through which we can solve any kind of line integration in a simplest form. But once you'll find the parametric form of a straight line, it is so tedious that once you'll use the straight line, no, your answer is going to be very difficult to get. Agreed what I'm saying? Why so? Because x has been transferred from 1 to 2. If 1 must have been transferred to 2 and 2 must have been transferred to 4, virtually speaking, there had been relationship between x, y and z, and that has been 2 times. But this has not been happening. So one thing has been quite sure, if you'll take the parametric form of a straight line, it is going to be quite difficult to get its answer. Anyways, if you want, I can show you. It becomes x minus of x1, that has been 1. Then becomes 2 minus of 1, that has been 1. Then becomes y minus of 1. 3 minus of 1, that has been 2. And then comes z minus of z1, that has been 2. And then comes 1 minus of 2, that has been 1 with a minus sign, and that becomes t now. That becomes t now. No, sir. That won't be that easy to understand. Just a minute. Yes. Yes. So what to do now? Follow my process. Literally, within a shortest span of time, you can ever get this answer. Yes. What I would do? I would focus over the vector for which the line integration has been performed, and that is going to be z square ax cap plus 3y square ay cap, and then comes 2xz az cap, and let's take this vector as a b vector. My dear friend, if curl of b vector is being null in nature, I can say the b vector is going to be a path independent in nature. What does it actually mean of it? You can use any of the path, but you had to start from p and had to go to q. You will be getting the same answer. Anyways, once you'll perform its curl, no, we had already checked, the result is supposed to be 0. It is coming 0. So what has been my approach? As we straight away go from p to q, that has been 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 1. As we go from P to Q, there have been so many calculations to be performed. What I would do? I would take an alternate path. At a time, I would change only x, y and z. What I would do? At very beginning, I will match x first. So I had went from P to A, and only x has been matched. So this becomes 2, and still it remains a 1 and 2. What does it actually mean of it? That means in this line segment, only x is being changed, dx is being live, dy and dz is supposed to be 0. dy and dz is supposed to be 0. Now in next line segment, I would only match y. I had not been changed the value of x, value of y had been matched, and there had not been any change in z. Virtually speaking, only and only y is being changed. So while doing the integration in this segment, only I would take the change in y, and then at last only and only z is being changed. So either I go straight away from here to here, or through this. The answer is supposed to be same, because we have already seen the integration is going to be path independent in nature. The integration is going to be path independent in nature. Agreed? So what I would do, just focus over this integration. I would do this integration in 3 parts. Yes, my dear friend, let me focus over this first part. Once you'll see z square dx, may I know what would be the integration over this line segment? It is 0, sir. Why? Because dx is being 0, dz is being 0. So obviously I can say this is simply being 0. Same goes over this line segment as well. Here only dz is being non-zero, and dx and dy is being 0. So this integration would be effective or non-zero only and only from this point to this point, or from P to A. So what I would do, I would go from P to A of z square of dx. Any kind of doubt you can ask over live chat. Then here comes dy. Dy is non-zero only and only in this segment, although you had to go through all of the 3 segments, but here dy is being 0, here dy is being 0, here dy is being non-zero. So what has to be my concern? So here I would take 3y square, here it goes dy, and the value of y has to be go from 1 to 3. 1 to 3. Yes. Same, the last one. dz is not been non-zero in first and second segment, it is just been non-zero in the last segment only. So here comes dxz, dz. If you want the variation in z, here if you want the variation in z, okay, it was 2, no? It was 2, just a minute. It was 2. So here it becomes 2 to 1. And once you do this integration, you are done with that. My dear friend, P to A, the value of z is been constant. How much it was? Here also 2, here it is also been 2, and in between everywhere in all of the points it was 2 only. So 2 to the power of 2, that becomes 4. Agreed. The integration of dx would become x. Upper limit 2 minus of 1, it is simply been 2. This is done with that. We have done with that. Yes. Now we will do the calculation with this as well. Anyways, 3 is been came out. Integration of y square is going to be y cube divided by of 3, and here it becomes y cube. Y cube 3 to the power of 3, that is going to be 27. 27 minus of 1, that is going to be 26. That is going to be 26. Then here comes plus. Anyways, here the integration of z. What is going to be the integration of z over there? That is going to be z square divided by 2. Deliberately they have placed 3 and 2 because they know after integration 3 is going to get produced at denominator, and here it's been 2. That is why it has been a problem from gate. No, they designed the problem in this way only. So anyways, this becomes Dhande. So here it becomes 2 and 2 is going to get cancels out. The integration of z is simply going to be z square divided by 2 is went out. Z square, 1 square is going to be 1. And then comes 4. 1 minus of 4, this becomes 3 now. Actually, this becomes 3 now. We also have to feed the value of x as well. May I know what was the x over here? The x was 2. And this sign has been negative, no? This sign has been negative. It's been kind of this. So here it becomes 4 2 ja 8. 3 and 3 out. And minus of 6. Minus of 6. Tell me how much answer we have been getting. How much answer we had been getting. How much answer we had been getting. So probably the answer which we are supposed to get, it is been 24. Have I been made some mistake somewhere? Tell me. 24. Yes. Ravi, had you followed the same pattern or you had followed the different pattern? From here onwards, Ravi, I would request, first focus over the vector for which the line integration is to be performed. Try that the line integration for the vector where the line integration is performed, it's been a path independent, and as it has been a path independent, even don't try to use the straight line as well. You can try alternate method where at a time you have been changing only x. You have started from 1 comma 1 comma 2, you matched only and only the x part, and you had matched it, and you had come to this point, 24. Agreed? No? So it was a well designed problem. Okay, then let me move into the next question as well. Again, it has been a problem of projection and gradient. Let's see what the problem states. The rate of increase of a scalar field f, which has been xyz, in the direction v is equals to 2 1 2 at a point 0 comma 2 comma 1. There are been the 4 different options which has to be addressed on. My dear friend, the rate of increase of a scalar field, as far as this terminology has been concerned, many of the times you must have come across this point. The rate of change in a scalar function can be easily calculated using the operator called gradient. So what we have been applying, we had been applying the gradient over the scalar field f, and that has to be performed at 0 comma 2 comma 1. So xyz once will perform its gradient partially, x respect में differentiation होगा, and then it would go in direction of y and then z. So partially once will differentiate this scalar function with respect to the x. The component which has been left out is been yz. My dear friend, anyways, y and z, neither of them is being 0, so obviously this component at least will be non-zero. So here comes y, that is been 2, z, that is been 1, and this component would fall in the direction of ax cap because the partial derivative is being taken with respect to the x. Yes. Then comes partial differentiation with respect to the y, and that would lead x and z. X is already being 0, so obviously this component would be null. This component is going to be null. So the component of ay cap is simply going to be null over here. Yeah. Null. So here comes ay cap. Agreed, sir. Then comes plus. I would request to each of the student who are not able to comment in our chat box, they had to follow a simple process. They had to subscribe our channel, and after 20 minutes you can easily have a chat with me. So obviously any kind of doubt you guys are been having, definitely you can discuss with me, because this session will go for a certain longer duration. So here it goes 2ax cap plus of ay cap. Agreed, sir. 2ax cap plus of ay cap. Agreed, sir. Sorry, this has been 0, no? Just a minute. This has been 0. This is been 0. Just a minute. This is been 0. Yeah. This is been 0, and same goes with the last as well. Partially, if you differentiate x, y, z with respect to the z, this becomes xy, and again x has been 0. So the gradient of f has been clearly known to be 2 of ax cap. You want the projection of this 2ax cap over a vector 2ax cap plus ay cap plus 2az cap. Probably you guys had a little bit idea about the projection and all. Let's take, you had got the two vectors. Let's take, this has been a vector, this has been b vector. If you want the projection of a vector over the b vector, what does it actually mean of it? You are going to glow a torch. The projection of a which has been falling over the b, that is going to be the projectional magnitude of a over the b. And if a torch has been blown from this side, the projection of a would be fallen 90 degree apart from b. How we can do that calculation, my dear friend? It's been quite easy. This has been theta. Yes, sir. Let's take the magnitude, which has been the chord length, is been magnitude of a. What would be its projection? Obviously, it is going to be magnitude of a into cos theta. Why? Because cos theta connects base and hypotenuse. Yes, sir. What has been the base? The base is nothing but the projection of a over the b. What has been the hypotenuse? That's been the magnitude of a itself. So here comes magnitude of a into cos theta is being the projection of a vector over the b. A vector over the b, and easily we can calculate it. Easily we can calculate it. How we can do so? Sir, we know the dot product very well. A dot b is equals to magnitude of a into magnitude of b. Magnitude of a into magnitude of b into cos of theta. We are being interested finding the magnitude of a into cos of theta. So what I would do, magnitude of b has been brought towards left hand side, and I get the answer as a dot b magnitude of b. Magnitude of b. Yes, A dot B. Yes, where it has been, yeah. The dot multiplication would take place. 2 into 2, that has been 4. 0 into 1, 0. 0 into 2, 0. So here it becomes 4. 4 divided by the magnitude of B. May you know what has been the magnitude of B, my dear friends? What has been the magnitude of B? This has been the vector and the projection has been taken over the V. Virtually speaking, you had to take the magnitude of it. And this becomes 2 to the power of 2. That has been 4 plus 1 plus 4. And that becomes 4 divided by 3. This has been the best most answer. This has been the best most answer. Did you really understood what exactly I wanted to communicate through this question? Is that part clear to all of us? Is that part clear to all of us? Let me see whether the things have been moving properly or not. Let me check it out. Yeah, everything has been perfect now. Let me check it out. Correct. In the same sequence, I think it's been the right time I should take the next question as well. This has been a problem of complex variable. Usually this kind of questions we do a lot in class 12th. Yes. Read the problem carefully and tell me what must have been the best most answer. Let omega to the power of 4 is equals to 16 of iota. Which one of the following cannot be the value of omega? Which one of the following cannot be the omega? That means out of the 4 options which are being supplied along with this problem, 3 options are supposed to be the correct one, which will satisfy this requirement. And out of 4, 1 would not satisfy that requirement. We had to dig that option out. And that has been the agenda behind this question. My dear friend, just try to understand this way. Omega to the power of 4, as the power is been even, whether it is been positive or negative, hardly it makes sense, because the even power of any negative component makes it positive only. So I can say, sir, its possible value if 4 had been brought towards right hand side, what is going to be the scenario over here? What is going to be the scenario over here? 16, how the 16 could have been written? 2 into 2, that has been 4 into 2, that has been 8 into 2, that has been 16. So here it becomes 2 to the power of 4. And this 4 has been brought towards right hand side, that would become 1 upon 4. 1 upon 4. Then should I take its iota, should I take its minus iota? I can take both. I can take both because we had taken the power of 4. I had taken the power of 4. So I can take either of them. Either I can take plus or minus iota. Yes, and that had been raised to the power of 1 by 4. And that is supposed to be the value of omega over here, which will satisfy this requirement. Quite okay. So here it becomes omega is equals to 4 and 4 out. This has just been 2. May I know how the iota could have been written? How the iota could have been written? The iota could have been written, just try to understand in this way. If you will use e to the power of j theta, that used to be cos of theta plus iota sine of theta. I want a pure imaginary value. Virtually speaking, the value of theta must be ensured in such that the cos of theta should always be 0. And that is possible only and only if you had a 90 degree or 270 degree. 90 degree or 270 degree. But once you will feed 90 degree over here, it is going to be positive. But once you will feed 270 over here, it becomes negative. But we can manage with both. But we can manage with both. I can manage with both, yes. So what I would do, here it becomes theta is equals to, I can use 90, I can use 270, either I can use again 90 plus 360, or I can use 270 plus 360, or I can say I can use any odd multiple of pi by 2. My dear friend, for all odd multiple of pi by 2, this is not going to be plus of j. It is going to be plus of j minus of j. Like if you keep n is equals to 0, this becomes pi by 2. Once you feed pi by 2, this becomes plus j. But once you keep n is equals to 1, this becomes 3 pi by 2 and this becomes minus j. But in this question, both are been allowed. Both are been allowed. Yes, both are been allowed. So what I would do, I would just write this as 2 has been brought out, and now I can write this as e to the power of 2n plus 1 pi by 2 to the power of 1 by 4. I can write this as pi by 8. Now we can keep different values of n, and we can see out of 4 options which has not been coming in this range. I will keep n is equals to 0 first. Once I fed n is equals to 0, what it becomes? It becomes 2 into e to the power of j pi by 8. Yes, then comes at n is equals to maybe 1. This is going to be 3 j pi by 8, and then comes 5j pi by 8. So may I know which has not been the answer? The even power will not be able to suffice this requirement. The student who had not joined yet, or they have joined late, I would request to all of you, already at very beginning a Google Drive link is been given where this PDF is already been provided. This PDF is already been provided. You will be having a question, and at the same time in sequence you will also be having an answer key as well. So you can take the reference of that PDF for the future reference as well. Yes or no? Yes, sir. Okay, then it's been the right time. I should move into the next question as well. So here comes the next question. The problem was based on a matrix. देखिए what the problem states. Let X be an n cross 1 a real column vector. Anyways, a column matrix is also being referred as a vector with length L is equals to X transpose into X square root. My dear friend, if X is been a column matrix, if you will take its transpose, it is going to be a row matrix which will have the order of 1 cross, let's take n, and X is going to be again column matrix which will have the order of n cross 1. Once you multiply them together, it is going to be a scalar quantity, and that is why I could perform its square root. Did you understand what I am saying? Because once you will see this problem, many of the students will come in trouble stating that how the matrix had taken its square root. A square root can only be performed for a scalar quantity, and obviously the matrix are been multiplied in such that they had performed the multiplication and they had become a scalar quantity. Quite okay, sir, quite okay. Let's take n cross 1 in nature now. Let's take that X is being x1, x2, n number of elements are being stacked in a form of column. This has been the first data. What has been the second step which we have been following? We had been taking the multiplication between X transpose and X. We know how it would look. This is going to be X transpose. It would form in a form of row, and it would form in a form of column. It is going to be 1 cross n into n cross 1. Virtually speaking, it is going to be a scalar quantity. See. X1 going to get multiplied with x1, it would lead x1 square. X2 is going to get multiplied with x2, it is going to lead x2 square, and xn is going to get multiplied with xn, it is going to lead xn square. Anyways, this has been the problem of gate electronics which has been experienced in this year 2023. Quite okay. We will move one step again further. What we'll do next? So at least this has been clearly known. And once you'll take a square root over here, no, this power is also been raised to half. Agreed, sir. Now the next matrix has been framed, and that has been the multiplication of X into X transpose. This has been X, which has been in order of n cross 1. X transpose would be in order of 1 cross n. Did you understand? Yes, sir. Now the new matrix which we are going to have, no, it is going to be n cross 1, 1 cross n. The row of first matrix and the column of second matrix is going to decide the order of new matrix, and now it is going to be n cross n. Agreed? How the multiplication would take place, my dear friend? This is in place of 1 1 1. No, 1 1 means in first matrix I am going to choose the first row, and in second matrix I am going to choose the first column. So first row had only one data, that has been x1, and here it has been x1, so here it becomes x1 square. This has been 2 1 sorry 1 2. That means the first data first row would be chosen in first matrix, and then the second column would be chosen in second matrix. So may I know what has been happening over here? The x1 gets multiplied with the x2. Same goes over here, but we had to focus over the trace only, no? In trace, one of the beautiful most thing which had been happening, this is going to be 2 2. What does it actually mean of 2 2? That means in first matrix the second row would get multiplied with the second column of the matrix. May I know this is going to be x2, x2, and here it is going to be here it is going to be x2. So here it becomes x2 square. Total n number of elements we are going to have, and they are simply being xl square, xn square. What does it actually mean of trace? Trace is the sum of all principal diagonal element which has been carried by any of the square matrix, and that becomes x1 square, x2 square, and that goes in xn square, xn square. And they have been asking what must be the value of trace. My dear friend, this has already been given as L. This is already been given as L. Then I need to find its trace. I need to find its trace. May I know what is going to be the trace over here? My dear friend, this is just been half has been shifted towards right hand side. This has been L square. So may I know what has been the best most answer? B has been the best most answer. B has been the best most answer. The student who are willing to comment probably are not getting that opportunity to comment. They had to subscribe our channel, and after 20 minutes definitely you guys would be able to communicate with me. Any kind of doubt you can ask over the live chat as well. You can ask over the live chat as well. Did you understand what I am saying? This is supposed to be the best most answer. The crux behind this problem is being x transpose x. Once you multiply them, order of the matrix is going to be 1 cross 1. I can say it is going to produce a scalar quantity. We can take its square root. But once we do the multiplication of x over x transpose, it is going to be a square matrix of n cross n. That is why the trace has been performed. We will take its all principal diagonal element and we will add them together. Still it has been x1 square plus x2 square and goes till xn square. And we know this term is simply equals to of L square, and hence the trace of the new matrix x transpose would lead L square. Agreed now? In the same sequence, here comes the next question as well. See, nowadays I have seen most of the time they are been more focused over the matrices. They do ask the question from the matrices again and again. Read the problem carefully and tell me what must have been the best most answer for this given question. Let v1, v2 be the two vectors. The value of the coefficient alpha in the expression has been v1 is equals to alpha v2 plus e, which minimizes the length of the error vector e is. Anyways, as they have been talking about the length of the vector is always been the magnitude of that vector. So virtually speaking, as far as the e is been concerned, we had been dealing with a scalar quantity. Don't get confused with it. Agreed, no? Sir, then how to proceed with this problem? Nothing to worry. See how. They wanted to connect V1 and V2, but they couldn't connect just by alpha. Certain error component has been left out. They want to minimize that error component E. If it has been 0, that has to be 0. But you can see very well in option A, B, C, D, nowhere 0 has been written. Or I can say in that case, the V1 is not been linearly dependent to V2 at any cost. If this must have been case, the minimal most error length must have been 0. So that the V1 and V2 has been such, they are not been linearly dependent. You can see very well. 1 had become 2, but 2 had to become 4, then only they would become linearly what? Dependent. So one thing has been quite sure, the value of E can't be 0. So what must be the approach now? Now that approach had comes in front of you, what I would do, see, I would feed V1 over here. That has been 1, 2 and 0. And here comes, just have a look on it. Here comes alpha. The value of alpha for the coefficient in the expression which minimizes the length of error 2. Okay? Here comes alpha. And this must be 2, 1, 3 and here comes E. What does it mean by E? Obviously, if it has been 3 cross 1, it has been 3 cross 1. It has to be 3 cross 1 only. Yes. 3 cross 1 only. Yes or no? Yes or no? I need to get its minimum value. I need to get its minimum value. We'll see that. My dear friend, if we would like to know the value of x, y, and z, so may I know what would be the value of x, y, and z? You can just shift this value towards left hand side. So virtually speaking, this has just been left out with 1 minus of 2 of alpha, and then comes 2 minus of alpha, and then comes minus of 3 alpha, and that becomes the error which has been produced, component of x, y, and z. They had not been focused over the actual error in a form of vector. They had just been focused over its magnitude. We will take its magnitude. So here it becomes magnitude of this, and magnitude of this. Yes or no? So may I know what is going to be the magnitude of error? Magnitude of error, it is simply going to be 1 minus 2 alpha raised to the power of 2, then goes 2 minus alpha raised to the power of 2, and then goes minus 3 alpha. No, minus 3 alpha. Yes, minus 3 alpha. You want the minimal most value of E. Once you receive that minimal most value of E, you had to check it out for which value of alpha that had taken place, and that value of alpha is going to be your answer. The value of alpha is going to be your answer. My dear friend, once you focus over this expression, one thing has been quite sure. If you want this to be minimal, the component which are been trapped inside the square root, that should also be minimal. So rather taking the minima of E, no, I can take the minima of E square as well. So you try it out, tell me what must have been the answer over there. You try it out. Agreed, my dear friends? What I am saying, you want the minimal most value of the component which has been trapped inside the square root. If this has been minimal, its square root is also going to be minimal. My dear friend, the square root is going to be a monotonic function. What does it actually mean of it? If you had y is equals to root over of x, if x is increasing, y would increase. If x is decreasing, y would decrease. If x is minimum, y would be minimum. If x is maxima, y would be maxima. So if we want the value of alpha, my basic focus has been my value of alpha such that the magnitude of error must be minimal. So why don't we take only and only this component? If this has been minima, the magnitude of E would also be minima. So my basic focus would be this terminology. Yes, plus it has been, and then comes minus of 3 alpha. Just a minute. Okay, minus of 3, so this becomes, where do I wrote? Yeah, so this becomes plus of 9 times of alpha square, plus of 9 times of alpha square. Did you understand what exactly I wanted to communicate? If you want, I can draw this curve out and we can get the value of alpha as well. What I would do, okay, then we will try this out. You'll enjoy this process. 1 minus of 2 alpha square. I can take a photo over here so that I can feed the data easily. Otherwise, with the help of maximum minima easily, you will be able to find this problem out. I have taken this photograph. What I would do, I would go into the calculator. And would feed this data over here. See, this data was graph. See, this data has been 1 minus, just a minute, 1 minus 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 2, then goes x raised to the power of, I know, 2x only, no, it's easy. And then it goes raised to the power of 2, quite okay. Then comes plus has been here, then comes 2 minus of alpha, 2 minus of alpha raised to the power of 2, raised to the power of 2. So here comes 2, and then comes plus of 9 alpha square, plus of plus where it is going to be, yes, 9 alpha square. This, I'm just going to draw this curve. I'm just going to draw this curve. See how the curve has been. How the curve has been. See, this has been the curve. This has been the curve. And you can see very well, once you will take differentiation, first derivative you will get the stationary point. The stationary point is going to be that point. You will take its double derivative, and once you will feed the stationary point, the value is supposed to be negative. It is going to be a upper facing parabola. It is going to be a upper facing parabola. This is going to be a point, or this is going to be the value of alpha for which the magnitude of E is going to be minima. If you literally want which particular point it had been, what I would do, I would just calculate its extrema. You can see very well, extrema, the value of x is being 0.2857 and the value of y is being 3.85714. Can you see this point? If you don't, you can extend it. Yeah, this one. What I'm saying, you got the answer as well. You get the answer as well. Where? Yes. So C. 2.7. 2 by 7. 2 by 7. 2 by 7. Yes. 0.2857. Otherwise, what you could have done? Obviously, this is going to be a quadratic equation. What you will do is you will take its first derivative. You will find its stationary points. You will take its double derivative. You will feed those stationary point. The value will be definitely negative. If value has been negative, it is going to create only and only one minima. And the minima has been the point where the minimal most value of E would be extracted. Value of E would be extracted. Is that part clear to all of us? Is that part clear to all of us? I would like to know from each one of you. Is that part clear to all of us or not? Agreed? Okay then. We will move into the next question as well. What happened? A very well designed question. Extremely well designed question. Read the problem carefully, and what I feel most of the students must have been struggled in this question. This problem has been based on the concept of expectation of random variable, but what I feel, out of 100 number of people, probably 1 or 2 people must have been actually understood the crux behind this question. Or maximum to maximum 3 to 4 number of students must have cracked this problem out. Read the problem carefully and tell me what must have been the best answer. See what the problem states. Again, I repeat, this problem had been experienced by Gate Electronics this year. The frequency of occurrence of 8 symbol A to H is shown in the table below. A symbol is chosen and it is determined by asking a series of yes-no questions, which are assumed to be truthfully answered. The average number of questions when asked in the most efficient sequence to determine the chosen symbol is, I expect, no means nobody had actually gone through the crux behind this question. My dear friend, what has been the question? Thoroughly we had to understand. The frequency of occurrence of 8 symbol has been clearly given. What does it actually mean of 8? Out of total 2 times, 1 time only A would occur. Out of 4 times, 1 would occur. Out of 8 times, 1 would occur. Or once you'll add them together, no? You have to add them together. Once you'll add them together, you'll find the probability becomes 1. That means if you'll choose any of the alphabet, out of 2 time, 1 time A is supposed to come. Similarly, once you choose G is supposed to be 1 out of 128. 128. What they had been asking. See, the question has been telling a symbol is chosen and it is determined by asking a series of yes no question. Just try to understand in this way. We have been playing a game. Let's take that bucket has been filled with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Total 8 symbols, alphabets. What I am saying, I had to ask a certain pattern of question such that by asking a minimal average number of question, I would be able to find which symbol you have been carrying. And while asking question, you won't be lying to me. If I say, has it been A? You will say yes or no, but you will be truthful to me. If it has been A, you will say yes. If it has been B, C, D, E, F, G, H, you will say just no to me, because it has been a question which has been based on questionnaires of yes and no, which has been based on the questionnaires of yes and no. So you can say this has been a bucket which has been filled of a symbol A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I had to know which symbol you have been carrying. What I would do, I would ask A, has it been A? You will say yes if it has been A. If it has been no, you will say just no. You won't be able to say no sir, this has been B, because this has not been allowed, because this has been a question based on yes and no only. Then you may ask B, then you will say no. Then you may ask A. If it has been yes, you will say yes, and the sequence has been terminated. Here what they had been asking. So most catching part of this question has been the average number of times the question is to be asked. Anyways, the word average is called mean. It's also called the expected value of the random variable. This problem is being the problem of random variable, where the expected value of the random variable is to be calculated, where the random variable is been how many times the question is to be asked. Virtually speaking, the number of times the question has been asked to determine the type of symbol is going to be a random variable. But nowhere it had been given that you should start from A, then B, then C, then D. It had been clearly written. You had to ask the question in such a way that you must get the efficient most outcome. What does it actually mean of it? That means by asking the minimal number of question, you must be able to detect which kind of the symbol that person is been carrying. May I know what would be its sequence? 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 My dear friend, my sequence will be A. Why? Because the probability of the occurrence of A is been highest. So there are been the most probability that I would ask, has it been A? Out of 2 times you will say yes sir, it is been A, and my question is going to get terminated there itself. Should I ask from H or should I ask from A? I would like to ask from each one of you. By asking the minimal number of question, I should know which kind of alphabet you had been carrying. So should I start from H or should I start from A, or I can start from either of them? No, my dear friend, you should start from A. If you start from A, out of 2%, or I should say 50% chances are been there, that would be A only, and that would be counted as the first question which you had asked, or I should say the A had been connected with a real number, random variable 1. Agreed? Then should you be asking for the C, D, or you will be asking the B? I see sir, no, I will ask for B, because the occurrence of probability B is just lower than A. So out of 4 times, you will just say that B had occurred. Anyways, this has been second trial. This has been third trial. This has been fourth trial, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. And this is going to be 8th trial. And their outcome has been connected to the random variables. Random variables. What I would do last? I would take just xi, p, xi. I would take xi, p, xi. Did you understand what I would do? So here 1 gets multiplied 1 upon 2, that becomes 1 upon 2, then this becomes 2 upon 4, then becomes 3 upon 8. Yes. So my sequence would be, I repeat, my sequence would be First question I am going to ask, has it been A? He'll say yes or no. I will ask, has it been B? He'll say yes or no. So on and so forth. I will go till H. So it is going to be 1 getting multiplied with 1 by 2. 2 going to get multiplied with 1 by 4, and till you go till 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 divided by of 128. 128. 7 divided by 128. Yes. 7 divided by 128. 128. And once you add them together, the result is going to be approximately 2. That means on average, you are going to ask 2 number of questions just to know which alphabet the person has been carrying. Which alphabet the person has been carrying. Anyways, the person who had been live and who can comment, I would like to ask from each one of you, if 1 must have been started from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Will you be getting the same answer, or the answer is going to be different? I would request of each one of you, just tell me whether the answer must have been same or answer must have been different. Answer must have been same or answer must have been different. Yes, that's been the best thing regarding it. Just try to understand in this way. Just try to understand in this way. If you take 1 divided by 2 plus 2 divided by 4. But once you'll swap it, no, what you did, see, its probability was 1 by 4, its probability was 1 by 2, and you had multiplied with a 1 and 2, but you did just opposite. The probability was 1 by 4, you had multiplied with 1, and whose probability was 1 by 2, you had multiplied with 2. You can see its result as well. Here it becomes, you just take its LCM, it becomes 4. 4, it becomes 2 plus 2, that becomes 4. Yes. What it has been, 2 by 4 is 1 by 2, 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 is 1. But once you'll take the value over here, now see, this becomes 4, this becomes 4. Anyways, it is going to be 1. Yes, sir. And this becomes 2 2ja, and that is been 4. And you can see here the value has been 5 by 4. It is larger. Virtually speaking, such a well designed question it had been. Ravi Teja, did you really understood what was the crux behind this question, or should I repeat this concept once again? Bucket has been filled of 8 alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Has it been same in quantity? Obviously they are not been same in quantity, and that is why whenever I ask out of 2 number of times, the person is saying going to say it has been A. Now what they have been asking, you had to calculate the average number of questions you had to ask in a form of yes or no, that you would be able to identify which kind of alphabet he had been carrying. So you can't ask which alphabet it had been. No, you had to ask the question and he'll just reply whether it has been yes or no. The first question I am going to ask, has it been A? He will say yes or no. If it has been yes, you got the alphabet correct. Otherwise it has to go further. He'll say no, then you'll ask B. Then he say no, you'll ask C, and you'll go till H. You'll go till H. Ravi Teja, the next thing I am going to ask, and again I find a little bit ambiguous at that point. If he say no, you go to B. He say no, you get to go to C. He say no, you go to D, E, F, G. Now, once you stand over here, if he says no, what does it actually mean of it? Neither it has been A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Would you check for H or not? Would you check for H or not, Ravi Teja? I would like to know from you, would you check for H or not? Will you again ask whether it has been H or not? No, I should not ask that. Because if he says all the way till G, no, by default the alphabet the person had been picked up from the bucket is supposed to be H. No need to check. Yes, that's what I'm saying. But still, that is why I'm saying no. I have taken till 7 divided by 128. 7 divided by 128. Even if you take 8 divided by 128, no, or 8 into 1 divided by 28, still the answer has not been changed. Still it has been somewhere too. Still it has been somewhere too. Agreed what I'm saying? A beautiful question it was. So I think it's been the right time. I should take the question from the mechanical engineering as well. So I would take a break now. I would take a break of how much it has been. The time has been so 20:15, no, so you can have a dinner as well. We will start from 9:15. We will start at 9:15. So you can say 25 minutes break. 25 minutes break we are going to have. 9:15 will be reaching it back. Yes, okay then. We are going to have a break of 9:15 because we will finish mechanical computer science as well as civil engineering. Yes. Hello, welcome back. So I think it's been the right time we should continue with the mechanical paper as well. So we have already discussed the two paper. The first was electrical and the second was electronics. Most of the questions were good questions, few of the extremely good question and few of the inferior question. But one and all, I can only say one thing. The questions as well as the learning was quite good. Chalo. So I think it's been the right time I should take the questions from mechanical engineering. Let's see what the problem states. The value of k that makes the complex valued function f of z e to the power of minus kx cos of 2y minus of iota sine of 2y where z is equals to x plus iy analytic. So obviously this kind of the questions are being expected question in any of the branch. Either it includes electrical, electronics, instrumentation. This problem is being a problem based on the concept of Cauchy-Riemann equation. If any kind of complex function follows the Cauchy-Riemann requirement, it becomes analytic. Anyways, how the Cauchy-Riemann function has been working. So we will take the reference of a complex function, obviously, which is a function of z, which has been a, yes. So let's take, it had got a two part, a real part as well as imaginary part. If u of x is equals to v of y and u of y is equals to minus of vx, the given f of z is being called as a analytic function. Agreed? Yes, sir. We can agree on that point. So same thing I have been doing over here. What I would do, I would compare f of z, which has been u plus iv from its right hand side. And that has been e to the power of minus kx getting multiplied with cos of 2y minus iota e to the power of minus kx sine of 2y. At least the value of u is clearly been known, as well as v is been clearly known. What I would do, I would take its partial differentiation with respect to the x first. And that has been e to the power of minus kx is equals to cos 2y has to be equals to the partial differentiation of v with respect to the m. So here it becomes dou of dou y of e to the power of minus kx sine of 2y. Sine of 2y. Agreed? Sine of 2y. So what I would do, I will take its partial differentiation. As it has been a function of y, it would be treated as a constant. So here the value which we get, it's simply going to be, minus is being taken out, it becomes minus of k e to the power of minus kx, and here it is been cos of 2y. Cos of 2y. Agreed now? Agreed till this point? Yes, sir. And here the differentiation would take place with respect to the y. So obviously the value is supposed to come which has been coming out, and that is been minus and minus becomes plus now. So it becomes plus 2 e to the power of minus kx sine becomes cos. It becomes cos of 2y. Once we'll compare both, the value of k which we've been getting, it's been 2. So if the value of k is been 2, I can say ux is found to be vi. And even you need not to check the uy is equals to minus of vx, because they had to design the problem in such a way that if the value of k, which is being unique in nature, is been satisfying the first Riemann equation, it has to also satisfy the second Riemann equation. Is it part clear? It also has to satisfy the second Riemann equation. Yes. So here comes the next question as well. This kind of the question you must have seen, which has been convertible to linear form of differential equation with constant coefficient. See, you can see very well. The order of the derivative is been matching with the power of x. In this case, you can easily convert this problem into the linear differential equation with the constant coefficient. What is the procedure we had to follow? The x has to be fed as e to the power of t. What has been the x over here? Independent variable. What has been the t over here? Again, it's been an independent variable. Agreed. Now, once you'll follow 2 or 3 number of steps, the conclusion which we deduce is being dy by of dx could have just been written as what? D into, I can rub this down. I had to rub this down. Just a minute. Yeah. So here I could have written x times of dy by dx is equals to capital D. What? Capital D. Similarly, x square d square y by of dx square is equals to capital D, d minus of 1, d minus of 1. Yes, d minus of 1. And you can feed the data over here. You can feed the data over here. What I would do, if you guys recommend this, what I would do now, the remaining question I would take, in next session. Because there are been quite a good number of questions are still been pending. I don't want such a longer span of video. So what I would do to all of us, the next video probably I will take tomorrow or day after tomorrow. There are so many questions are yet to come. There are so many questions are yet to come. Yes, there are so many questions are yet to come. We were where? Exactly, let me know. We were here, no? Okay. Yes, I think this has been the right time. We should finish it up. No issue. We should finish it up. Just a minute. We should finish it up. Okay. So what I would do over here, I would just start placing the values over here. May I know what has been the d over here? That should be clear to all of us. D is not been d of dx, now it had become d of dt. If you want, from where this conclusion has been brought out, you can comment it over here. Definitely I may make a different video for that. So what had been happened? The x has been transformed to t, and the relationship which had been used is been x is equals to e to the power of t. Quite okay. Let me feed the data over here. The x square d square y of dx square would be fed as d over of d minus of 1 into y. Keep in mind here, the d is been d of dt. Then comes d, and here comes y minus of y. And you can see very well, the right hand side has been 0, or I can say this has been a type of linear differential equation in homogeneous form. Yes. So only if you'll talk about its outcome or response, it will have 0 input response, or I would say it would have only and only complementary function. Yes. First we will try to deduce its characteristic equation. Y had been taken common, had been brought towards right hand side. D gets multiplied with d, that becomes d square minus of d plus of d minus of 1 and is equals to 0. So from here a minus d and plus d has been knocked off. The value of d is been distinct and real in nature, that had been plus and minus 1. If we will try to create its complementary function, where the roots are been more than adequate to get it. So what we would do over here, so here the plus minus 1, yes, plus minus 1, virtually speaking it becomes e to the power, keep in mind what I am saying, keep in mind, e to the power of plus t and c to e to the power of minus t. Here major mistake the student may do, they may write this as a c1 e to the power of x plus c2 e to the power of minus x, which nobody should do over here, because here the independent variable x is being transformed in a form of t, and that is why the complementary function which you have been getting, where the value of y is being connecting with t. Let me revert back x in this complementary function. X is been e to the power of t, so in place of e to the power of t, x would be fed in. Similarly, in place of e to the power of minus t, x to the power of minus 1 would be fed in, and that becomes x over here, and that becomes y. So we got the general solution of this linear differential equation with second order, and that has been y is equals to c1 plus c2. Just a minute. Y is equals to c1x plus c2 divided by of x. In this question, they had been seeking the value of y at x is equals to 2. Until and unless this arbitrary constants are not been known, we won't be in position to help anything. So here it becomes value of y. Two datas are being given. The value of y is been 6 at x is equals to 1. So this becomes 6 at x is equals to 1. If we'll keep x is equals to 1, this becomes c1 and this remains c2. So the addition of this two arbitrary constant would stand 6. Would stand 6. Agreed. Then the derivative of the function with respect to the x, we will take its derivative. So here comes y does. What is going to be its derivative? It is going to be c1. And once you will take the derivative of c2 divided by x, c2 is being treated as a constant. It would become minus of 1 by x square. So what I would do over here? Yes. This is going to be c1 minus c1 of x square. It's been kind of this. The value is being calculated at 1 and the worth is been 2. So again it is been c1 minus of c2. So the c1 and c2 are been such, their addition is been 6 and their subtraction is been 2. Virtually speaking, they had to be 4 and 2. c1 is been found to be 4 and c2 is been found to be 2. So at least the solution is been clearly known with the value of c1 and c2, and that is been 4x plus 2 divided by of x. They have been seeking the value of y at x is equals to 2. We will feed x is equals to 2. 4 2 ja is going to be 8. 2 divided by of 2, and that becomes 9 now. So may I know what is going to be the best most answer for this given question? Obviously, sir, 9 is supposed to be the best most answer. 9 is supposed to be the best most answer. In the same sequence, we go ahead taking this kind of question as well. Probably many of the times you must have seen this type of questions in JEE mains and all, where we deal with the modular function. It is quite similar to that. Just try to figure it out. What the problem states: the figure shows the plot of a function over the closed interval plus 4 minus 4. Which one of the option given correctly identifies the function? There could be different ways. Either you can plug the data over the ABCD, you can extract the outcome over here, or you can use hidden trial method. My dear friend, just try to understand in this way. 2 minus mod of x, this component can be negative as well. How? If you'll feed x is equals to 6, mod of 6 is going to be 6, 2 minus of 6 becomes minus of 4. Virtually speaking, the presence of this signal would be in third as well as fourth quadrant both. If you'll take x is equals to minus 6, then also it is going to be negative. And you can see very well in this complete graph, nowhere the curve had been belonging in third and fourth quadrant. Obviously D has been completely knocked off. So you have been left with a B, C, D. You could have done in this way as well. See, just try to understand. From minus 4 to minus 2, there had been the change in x with 2 unit. Agreed? And similarly, within the change in 2 unit, you can see there were change in y with 2 unit. So may I know what was the slope over here? The change in y divided by change in x, and that has been minus 1. And same goes over here as well. Change was 2 unit, minus 1 plus 1, minus 1 plus 1. It's been kind of this. Agreed? No? Yes, sir. If you really want to simulate this problem, no, you could have done it in this way. Just try to understand. This V-shaped curve has been brought to 2. Slope has been 1, no? So obviously we can take the reference of mod of x, where the mod of x used to be a V curve whose slope has been minus 1 and plus 1. But rather keeping at origin, we had brought that cusp, no, somewhere towards the lower side. Where towards lower side? Towards 2. So it's been kind of this. Just try to understand. May I know which curve is going to be? Obviously, sir, mod of x has been brought 2 units down. And that is why it has been meeting at 0, 2. Now I will take its modula. Once I will take its modula, what does it actually modula do? It makes the function positive. The component which is already been towards the upside of y-axis would not be shifted, but the component which were towards downside would be shifted upside. So if I'll take the modula, once I'll take the modula, this part would be flipped down and the component would be like this. So here it becomes 2 now, and you can see very well this kind of structure we have been dealing with. So may I know what is going to be the answer? magnitude of x minus of 2, but once you'll see in this option, nowhere you will be finding any match on it. You can take minus outside. So once you'll take minus outside, how the problem would look? It would be 2 minus mod of x, and modular would always be positive, so even it would consume the negative sign as well. So here the bestmost answer which we can receive in this problem has been simply A. A is going to be the bestmost answer. A is going to be the bestmost answer. In the same sequence, I think we should take this question as well. The value of closed surface integration of f a n cap ds, where f is equals to x I cap plus y j cap minus 2j k cap, and s is a closed surface enclosing volume. One thing is quite sure. Nowhere the value of volume is being given. If you apply the divergence theorem, still you won't be able to get the answer. You can get the answer only and only in the one way, that the divergence of the given vector field must be 0. In that case, closed surface integration performed by this given vector would be 0. So by watching the problem itself, the data is not been given and it's been a type of NAT. Obviously, the divergence of the given vector for which the closed surface is to be performed has to be a divergence free vector. So here becomes 1 minus 2 is equals to 0. If you'll use the Gauss divergence theorem, which indicates closed surface integration of f dot ds is equals to volume integration of the divergence of f over dv. And you can see very well the value has been found 0. So the answer is simply going to be 0 over here. The answer is simply going to be 0 over here. Yes, this has been the bestmost answer. This has been the bestmost answer. So I think it's been the right time I should take few number of questions from computer science and IT as well. See, the value of this definite integral is been, my dear friend, what has been the crux behind this problem? Once you'll focus on their limits, no, you will find it has been in the form of minus a to a, minus a to a, minus a to a. So one thing must strike in our mind, whether we have been dealing with odd function. Yes sir, we have been dealing with odd function. You can see very well the power of x is been 2, power of y is been 1. Once you multiply, its total power is going to be 3. It is supposed to be a 2 variable odd function, and same goes z to the power of 3 as well. So virtually speaking, although you can perform the integration, but whenever you find this kind of question, you don't have to give any second thought. If you had been dealing with even function, you could have taken 0 to 1 and you could have taken this as a twice. But either it has been x, either it has been y, either it has been z, it has been quite sure you had been dealing with the odd function. Although we had been dealing with triple integration, but the same concept can be used, which we have already used in single definite integration. F of x is being integrated from minus a to a, where f of x follows a special condition where f of minus x is being minus of fx. Virtually speaking, f of x is odd function. In that case, what happens? This result is being 0. Here also it is being 0. If you want, you can check it out. The same answer you are going to get over here. Same answer you are going to get over here. Odd function. Yes. Yes. That is why this question has been drafted in such that many of the students might go into the longer process. What they would do, they would take the integration with respect to the x. It is going to be a large function. Again, with respect to the y and z, and probably they will get trapped. So here comes the next question. 23rd question. Fx is equals to x cube plus 15x square minus of 33x minus of 36 be a real valued function. Which statement is R true? It's been a kind of MSQ. You can possess, or this question can possess more than one answer. Once you focus over the f of x, now one thing has been quite soon. You had been dealing with cubic polynomial, or polynomial whose degree is been 3. Cubic polynomial. Cubic polynomial. Yes, sir. Once you'll find its stationary point, what you'll do, you'll take its first derivative, just to find where the slope becomes 0. The point where the slope becomes 0 becomes a stationary point. Quite okay. How many stationary points you can have? At max 2. And among them, one is supposed to be maximum, one is supposed to be minima. Can't be both maxima, can't be both minima. Why? See how the maxima is being created. Lower facing parabola is being maxima, and obviously once you'll go ahead and if you had to change its string, the minima has to come. So you can say one thing: two consequent stationary point would always be maxima and minima if if saddle point is not been created. So you can't say the two maximas are have come together or two minimas have come together. That can't be the case at any cost. No, just try to understand. If you don't understand, if it has been keep making, if you want to make a another maximum, my dear friend, no, you can't make. You had to go down, then only first maximum will become, and now you have to raise up. So two maxima and two minima has been myth. It can't come together. It can't come together. Yes, agreed. No, agreed, sir. But still, it had already been seen. Many of the times, once you'll take its first derivative, you'll compare with 0, you'll find your roots are being complex in nature. In that case, the function becomes monotonic. I repeat, in that case, the function becomes monotonic. So you can't say, sir, if it has been a cubic polynomial, once we'll take its derivative, the two roots will come, and among them, one is going to be maxima and minima. Those stationary point has to be real valued. Real valued. Agreed? So what I would do, I would take its differentiation. So differentiation has been taken over here. Just a minute. Differentiation is being taken over here. So here comes d of dx of f of x, and now its derivative becomes 3x square, and then it becomes 30 of x minus of 33, and just to know its stationary point, we will compare with 0. We will compare with 0. Anyways, 3 has been a common factor, has been brought towards right hand side, divided with 0 becomes 0. So this becomes x square, sorry, 3 is also been there, and this becomes okay, 3 has to be calculated. No, 3 has to be taken out. 3 has to be taken out. So here it becomes x square plus of 10 of x minus of 11. We can find it roots by middle term split. We have to split the middle term in such a way that their addition should become 10 and their multiplication should become minus 11. If the multiplication has becoming minus 11, that means out of two term, one has to be negative. Then only their multiplication would be negative. And as the middle term is been positive, that means, or it indicates, the two terms which had been multiplied, no, the larger term would be positive. Then only their addition would be positive. So what we can do, the two number whose multiplication is been 11 and addition is been 10, obviously 11 1. So we will take 11 as positive and 1 as negative. Middle term has been splitted. What we would do, we would take x as a common. So here it becomes x plus 11, and here we will take minus 1 as a common. X plus 11 is equals to 0. Yeah, agreed? So two roots we had. Obviously, as we had got a two distinct root, I don't have to worry about anything. Obviously, among them, one is going to be maxima, one is going to be minima. If you don't understand, you take its double derivative, feed one data. Definitely one would be positive and another would be negative, where the double derivative would be positive, that's going to be the point of local minima, and another is going to be a point of local maxima. Yes, would have a local maxima and would have a local minima. Agreed? Agreed, sir. Let me check it out. Each and everything has been perfectly working or not. Okay. So I think it's been the right time. I should move into the next question as well. Here comes the next question. Read the problem carefully and tell me what must have been the best most answer for this given question. What must have been the best most answer for this given question? Tell me. See what the problem states. Yes. What the problem states. Let me enlarge a bit. Yeah. The problem states consider a random experiment where two fair coins are tossed. Obviously, what's supposed to be the possible outcomes? They could be 0 0. Bole to tell. This could have been the first possibility. Then it could have been tail head. It could have been what? Head tail. Last never the least, it could have been head or head. There are total been 4 possibility if two fair coins are been tossed. So far event has not been decided. They are going to decide the event now. What they are saying, let A be the event that denotes head on both the throw, or I can say this is been event A. This is been event A. Okay. B be the event that denotes head in first throw. Obviously it requires only and only one aspect, that the first throw should contain head. It could be HT or it could be HH. So here it has been B event as well. The event C is been denotes that the head on first throw, and C denotes the head on second. So yes, this is going to be C, and even this is going to be C as well. Yes, if we'll say the probability of A, what does it actually mean of it? Both of the coins should show head as the face, and that is been 1 out of 4. So this becomes 1 out of 4. Then here comes P of B. Out of 4 number of outcome, B supports 2. So here it is becoming 2 out of 4. And if we'll focus over the probability for the occurrence of C, 2 out of 4, it is again be 2 by 4. 2 by 4. This is again been 2 by 4. Agreed? Yes, sir. 2 by 4. We will read each and individual. B and C are independent. If B and C are been independent, if we'll focus over option A, if B and C are been independent, probability of occurrence of B and C together must be probability of B into probability of C. B and C together, where it had been happening? Here it had been happening out of 4. So obviously it is simply going to be one event out of 4. Probability is supposed to be 1 by 4. P of B, 2 out of 4. So here it becomes 2 by 4. P of C is again 2 out of 4. Has it been left hand side is equals to right hand side? Yes. And if B intersection C is been P of B into P of C, obviously I can say B and C are been independent event. Now let me focus over the option B now. A and B are independent. If it is so, the probability of the occurrence of A and B together has to be the probability of the occurrence of A and B. Let me start filling the data over here. A and B together, only A and B together, only one event out of 4. P of A, what has been that? P of A has been 1 out of 4. What has been P of B? P of B is 2 out of 4. You can see very well this has not been matching at any cost. Yes, A and B is independent. No. P of B when the C has been occurred. If C has been occurred, that means you had been standing here or here. So what has been the probability that the B would occur? May I know what would be the probability that the B would occur? So obviously only 1 out of 2. So P of B by C is been 1 by 2, and P of B is already been 1 by 2. That is also been correct. Yes. And now if you'll focus over the A and C are independent. A and C are being independent. What we'll do over here? What we'll do over here? A and C are being independent. Again, the same thing has to be checked in. Let me take the reference of option D. We will take probability of A intersection C if it stands for P of A over P of C. That's done. That's done. P of A intersection C, occurrence of A and C together, where it had been happening only in only one place. So it is going to be 1 over 4. What is going to be the P of A over here? P of A, yeah. Only in only one place. It has been 1 over 4. P of C, it has been 2 over 4. Has it been same? No, sir. It's not been same. Right hand side has been 1 by 8 and left hand side has been 1 by 4. Obviously, they can't be same. They can't be same at any cost. The D is already been ruled out. It was a well-crafted question. It was a well-crafted question. In the same sequence, I think it's been the right time. I should take the next question as well. This problem has been a problem of graph. This problem has been a problem of graph. Let A be adjacent matrix of a graph with vertices 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let lambda 1, lambda 2 till lambda 5 are being the eigenvalues. I need to find their additions. My dear friend, the first method could have been just by watching this graph, you extract its matrices, which is going to be square in nature. Obviously, whenever you draw a graph for, whenever you extract a matrix for any kind of graph, always it used to be a square matrix. And then you had to add their principal diagonal together in order to get the lambda 1 plus lambda 2 till lambda 5. But I won't do so. Why, sir? Why you won't do so? What I would do, see, once you'll make a matrices which are been connecting x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. Agreed? We had just to focus over their principal diagonal elements. Principal diagonal element connects in its own. Why? 1, 1, that means how the node 1 is been connected to the node 1. 2, 2 means how the node 2 is been connected to the 2. So virtually speaking, if we'll focus over the 2, 2, no, 2 is not been self loop. Yeah, 2 is not been self loop. It is not been connected. Similarly, 3 has been a self loop. It has to be 1. Then it has been 1. 5 is again not been a self loop and 1 is again not been a self loop. Once you'll add them together, you will get their value and it is simply mean 2. In future, they may ask this kind of questions to you as well. Although this question has been asked in computer science and in instrumentation, many of the students would also ask, sir, we don't understand how exactly this question has been framed. But what I feel, yes, this kind of question may come into the picture. So rather going into the detailed calculation, just by visualizing that the sum of all possible eigenvalues are being equals to of the truss of its father matrix, straight away you could have got this answer as well. Yes or no? Yes, sir. This was a quite bigger question, but yes, no issue. Determinant, once you'll calculate its determinant, it is not coming 0. But once you'll see A and B, what had been happening, just have a look on it. Once you'll switch R1 and R3, you will get B. How many times switching has been taken place? 1 times. So the determinant of A and determinant of B would be connected with a negative sign. The number of switch in what connects the determinant of A and B. So probably you must have seen this determinant of B. If it is just been switched form of matrix of A, so it is going to be minus 1 to the power of n determinant of A. Determinant of A. Is that part clear? Determinant of A. Agreed? So I think till this point, I don't find any of the student would have any kind of doubt. So yes. And I have already calculated. You can see what exactly answer it had been, because unnecessarily now we have already spent so much time. I don't want to waste you guys time. So I think it's been the right time I should take few number of questions from instrumentation as well. As it was quite amusing, the questions related to the modular function had been asked in probably all of the 4 to 5 number of branches. Which one of the given figure PQRS represents the graph of the following? fx is equals to magnitude of x plus 2 minus of x minus of 1, minus of x minus of 1. Let me focus over this, how the x plus 2 would look like, my dear friend. How the x plus 2 would look like. Let's take y is equals to x plus 2. Once I keep x is equals to 0, the value of y which we get, it's been 2, or I can say 2 comma 0. And when we keep y is equals to 0, the value of x which we get, it's been minus 2. Just oh here, minus 2, minus 2. So it is going to be a straight line kind of this. But one thing has been quite sure, once you take its modular, no, the value can't be negative. So we had been focusing over this, no, this one. This one. As far as the x minus of 1 is been concerned, just try to understand this way. X minus of 1 is been concerned, my dear friend. It is not magnitude of x minus of 1. No, it is been x minus of 1. How the x minus of 1 is going to look like? Once you'll keep y is equals to 0, the value of x which we get, it's going to be a plus 1. So it is going to make a V shape at or at around x is equals to plus 1. It's been kind of this. It's been kind of this. Yeah. It's been kind of this. It's been kind of this. Yes. We had to take their subtraction. What I have been doing over here, we had to take their subtraction. My dear friend, if two curves are parallel, no? If two curves are parallel, if two curves are been parallel, if we'll subtract them, no, by default, it is going to be a constant quantity. You can take the reference like y is equals to 2x plus 3, y is equals to 2x plus 4. Slope is been same, but once you'll subtract them, 4 minus 3 is going to be a constant value. Yes, you can take this as y is equals to maybe minus 2x plus 3 minus 2x plus 2. Once you'll subtract them, by default, the value is going to be constant now. Value is going to be constant now. So one thing has been quite sure, till minus 2, both were having same slope. So till minus 2, you are going to get a flat line. You are going to get a flat line. But in between here, the slope is been what? Positive, and here the slope is been negative. Obviously, you are going to get a jig. Okay, and then on say again you are going to get a constant value. Again you are going to get a constant value. So where the change of switchover has been taken place, it has been at minus 2 and plus 1. So you can search which is supposed to be minus 2 and plus 1. Just a minute. Actually it is not exactly given. So here comes plus of 1 and this here. Yes or no? Check this down. Check this down. I'll repeat once again what exactly I had been talking about. X plus 2, it is going to be symmetrical around minus of 2. X minus 1, it is going to symmetrical around plus of 1. Anyways, before minus 2, both are been parallel. So I can say till minus 2, it is going to be a flat function. Quite okay. And similarly, from plus 1 onwards, it is going to be a flat function again, which is going to be the answer. Okay, this could be the possible answer. This could be a possible answer. This can't be the possible answer. This can't be the possible answer. What answer they had given? C, no? C. We'll see that. Now let me focus over how it could have been. What we will do, we will take the reference of left hand side. Let's take, we have taken the reference of x is equals to minus 3, because at minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, everywhere the value is going to be same. Let's take at minus 3. What had been happening? Just try to understand. Minus 3 plus of 2, that is going to be minus of 1. If you'll take its magnitude, it becomes plus of 1. Minus, where the calculation has been done, x is equals to minus 3. Deliberately we had done it at left hand side of minus 2. Again feed the data over here. It becomes 3 minus of 1, that becomes 2. 2, 1 minus. So here you will be getting the answer as well. Yes or no? I think it has not been drawn properly, yaar. Should I draw it completely? I would like to ask from each one of you. Should I draw it completely? If you want, I can draw it out. No issue. So here comes x plus 2, then probably it was x minus of 1, and then we take magnitude. What I would do now, forget about the problem and all. Let me focus over the concept now. My dear friend, x plus 2, probably you must have been knowing about it. Slope is going to be the slope which has been connected with the x. So obviously it is going to be plus 1 or minus 1, taking the reference of x is equals to minus 1. And similarly x minus 1, again the slope is going to be plus 1 and minus 1, taking the reference of x is equals to plus 1. So my toggle point is going to be, yes, here comes x is equals to minus 2, here comes x is equals to minus 2, and towards right hand side it is supposed to be plus 1. Yes. Yes. How the curve is going to be? Initial curve we have been focusing on. Initial curve here. The slope is going to be 1. Slope is going to be minus 1. Same goes over here as well. Slope is going to be minus 1 and slope is going to be plus 1. It's been kind of this. Agreed? We have to subtract them. You can see very well. If you will take the reference of, x is equals to minus of t. From minus 2 towards left hand side, both have been parallel. The slope has been minus 1, slope has been minus 1. Obviously, once we'll subtract them, the result is supposed to be a constant value. Undoubtedly it has been constant value. It could be positive or negative, that's been the different story together, but yes, it is supposed to be a constant value. Would it be a positive or would it be a negative? One thing has been quite sure, my dear friend. This has been x plus 2, the slope has been minus 1, and now this has been x minus 1, slope is again been minus 1. So obviously x plus 2 would be towards downside, and similarly x minus 1 would be towards upside. And this is the case. Once will subtract this curve with this curve. I repeat, this curve with this curve, the negative value is going to be supposed to be negative. So you can do one thing, you can feed any of the data and you can check this out. Yes. You feed x is equals to, let's take minus 3. So what had been happening? Minus 3 plus 2 is going to be minus of 1. Once you will take its magnitude, it becomes plus of 1. Again, x is equals to minus 3 minus of 1, it becomes minus of 4. Once you will take its magnitude, it becomes plus of 4, minus of 4, and now this becomes minus of 3. Not only for x is equals to minus 3, even you can take x is equals to minus 5 as well. What had been happening? Minus 5 plus of 2, that has been minus of 3. Minus of 3, if you will take its magnitude, it is going to be 3. And same, minus 5 minus 1, that becomes minus of 6. Once you will take its magnitude, it becomes plus of 6. Once you will subtract it, again it becomes minus of 3. Lekin end of the day, the magnitude is also being taken, so it becomes plus of 3. It has been quite sure it is supposed to be plus of 3. Agreed? It is supposed to be plus of 3. Same goes over here as well. Anyways, just by taking the reference of the here, you will be getting this as an answer. So I think the video is going much longer. We can do one thing. I will show you all of the questions. Any kind of doubt you guys have been having, no, you can ask over the live chat. I will take the separate session as well. See, the rank of the matrix given below, the ratio of alpha beta. See, if the rank of the matrix is been 1, what does it actually mean of it? That means the number of linearly independent rows has to be 1. Minus 3 alpha has to be the dependent part of 1, 4, and similarly beta and 6 has to be dependent part of. So what had been happening? 1 had become minus of 3. Yes or no? That means this row element must be minus 3 times of this. So alpha had become minus of 12. Similarly, 4 had become 6. That means the multiplication of 1.5 has been taken place. Try to get the value over here. Try to get the value over here. Okay. Extremely sorry. Okay. So what I'm saying, we could have taken the last question. What I'm saying, we had to follow the limit x tends to 0 of f of x. One thing has been quite sure, whether it has been sine infinity, 2 pi, 3 pi, 101 pi, 1000 pi, it always oscillates between -1 to +1. Is this has been a finite value. If the finite value gets multiplied with a 0, the result is been supposed to 0. This has been a problem of rank. My dear friend, if rank has been 1, linearly independent number of rows has to be 1. Virtually speaking, this must have been taken from this must have been taken from this. You can see very well, 1 becomes -3 by multiplying -3. So obviously 4 must have been multiplied with the -3 and will make alpha. So the value of alpha has been -12. 4 has been made 6 by just multiplying 1.5. So 1 must have been multiplied with the 1.5 and then only it would become beta. The beta has been 1.5. Beta has been 1.5. Here in this problem, they have been seeking for their ratios, so the answer has been -8. You can have a look on this problem easily. You can smash this out. The real valued function, if you want, I can show you out. It was a good question. Consider the real valued function gx is equals to max of x minus of 2 square comma minus 2x plus 7 for x of the entire real axis. The minimum value attained by gx is. So what would be the minimal most value of gx? My dear friend, just try to understand this. This has been two different functions, x minus 2 raised to the power of 2 and then minus 2x plus of 7. If you want, I can draw this down. See how it would look like. Here comes x minus of 2 raised to the power of 2. It is going to be a parabola symmetrical around x is equals to +2 and upper facing in nature. So I can take the reference of x is equals to +2 vertical line. It's been kind of this. It is going to be a parabola. Or obviously it is going to be upper facing. Then the next goes minus 2x plus of 7. Its slope is been negative with the slope of minus of 2. Once you'll keep x is equals to 0, you'll find it is been intercepting at 0, 7. Yes. And similarly, once you'll keep x is equal y is equals to 0, you'll find x is been found to be 7 divided by of 2. 7 divided by of 2, and 7 divided by of 2 used to be somewhere 3.5. This is going to be a straight line. Yes or no? This is going to be the straight line. The function g of x, which had been crafted, it had been crafted by taking maxima between both functions. What does actually mean of it? In any of the value of x, whoever has been greater, that would be followed. So you can see very well, this is going to be a kind of parabola. If you take the reference of this point, if you go towards left hand side, obviously the parabola had been taken over this straight line. If you will be in between this curve, the straight line is being taken over the parabola, and once you will go beyond this point, again the parabola is being taken over the straight line. So the curve is being kind of this. If you draw this g of x, the curve is going to be kind of this. See, it's been like this, then it is going to be straight line, and then it's been like this. Such a great outcome. Yes or no? How many of us could really understood what exactly in this problem has been talking of? Now they have been asking the minimum value of g of x. Obviously, our minimum value of g of x would be found over here because it was monotonically decreasing. Although at this point the cusp has been formed, you can't say it's been the stationary point where the slope becomes 0. It has been non-differentiable, but again from here onwards it's been started increasing. Agreed what I'm saying? Did you understand? So virtually speaking, you had to find this point of x, and now you have to feed that data. You will be getting the minimum value attained by gx. Where it had been attained, nothing had been asked. What has been the minimal most value of gx, that had been asked. So what you will do, you will compare both of them. Where x minus of 2 raised to the power of 2 is been exactly minus 2x plus of 7. The value of x which satisfies this equation are been the point, I repeat, are the point where the straight line and parabola are been intersecting. What we would do, we would just open it up. This becomes minus of 4 of x plus of 4 minus of 2x plus of 7. It is going to make a quadratic equation. So here it becomes x square and minus 4x plus 2x. This becomes minus of 2x, and here it becomes minus of 3 is equals to 0. Is equals to 0. So we had to split its middle term in such their multiplication should be minus 3 and their addition must be minus 2. If the multiplication has been minus 3, among them out of 2 1 has to be negative. If the addition has been minus 2, the larger value is going to be minus now. May I know which is going to be the value? That is going to be minus 3 and 1. So here it becomes minus 3x and plus x. Yeah, it's been kind of this. It's been kind of this. So here it becomes x minus of 3, 1, x minus of 3. We will compare this as 0. The x is been minus 1 and x is been plus 3. You can see very well this is been x is equals to minus 1. You will be getting a corresponding value of y, and here this is been x is equals to plus 3. You will be getting corresponding value of y as well. You will be getting the corresponding of y as well. May I know, will you ask the worth of this value using this parabola or straight line? Bhai, this point falls in both. You can use either of the curve. So okay, we can feed over here. So what we will do, we will keep x as 3. We had fed x as 3 minus of 2, that has been 1, and that has been raised to the power of 2 of 1. You can see very well the 1 has been the bestmost answer. You can see very well 1 has been the bestmost answer. Quite straight. Yes. So yeah, done. Great. I would request to each one of you, if you guys are having any kind of doubt, you can just ask. So at least I can have a okay. It's clear, no? I think this is also a well designed question. Few other questions were okay, good. So I would request to each one of you, the student who had not joined our any of the course, they can join our course, and then we together definitely will flourish. So just a minute. Okay, then I would request to all of you, the student who had not been the part of our paid course, this should go ahead with the paid course, because you will be getting the superb content. Udan batch, which has been designed for GATE 2024, and similarly Bunyad batch, which has been designed for 2025, is already been begun by Ankit Goel sir, and he had been taking class exactly at 7 a.m. and his batch had been started from 10th of February. For any kind of doubt, you can raise a call on this number. And yes, if you want to avail the offer, the unlock code which you have to use is been GA1111. All of the best faculties from the Gate Academy and Unacademy has been coming together to teach you guys. You are going to get really extremely a well designed outcome. This has been the price of our course. You can see we had two variants, plus variant and iconic variant, and at the same time you yourself would be able to see the price hike is supposed to come. So before the price hike takes place, you must get enrolled. The first Unacademy offline center for the Gate and EAC. Keep in mind, we are going to open a new center. Obviously, it has been opened, the new center in Delhi. So I can say one thing: the student who really wants to connect with us in offline mode, they should not miss this opportunity. If you fall in either of the category, this much percentage of discount would be given to you guys. You can have a look on it. For the complete detail about our offline center, which is going to get held at Delhi, you can have the reference of this QR code. Yes, this has been our key differentiator and USPs in compare with the rest of the product available in markets. If you guys have been having or facing the financial problem, definitely you can take the no cost EMI venture. This has been the basic difference between Plus and Iconic. You can see the Plus is been the subset of Iconic. You'll be getting some extra feature in Iconic like customized doubt solving, printed notes, one-to-one live mentorship program, strategy and study plan, and interactive open house session. Yes, all of the toppers are being produced by us. So this is all. For any kind of query and doubt, we can meet tomorrow. Till then, bye-bye. Take care. Okay, we'll meet tomorrow.